Roger, are you back?
I'm here. I was just
Your
posting
camera on?
some. I was posting something. There you go.
Hi.
What's
There you go.
going on? I was posting this. Does this look better with this light or without?
I don't know, but we are live, by the way.
That's all right. How's it going, everyone? We're live. Welcome in.
Welcome, everyone.
Is that
Okay,
better with
so
that
we,
light? Wait,
so
I like messing around with these lights.
right? Can everyone hear us? Can everyone hear us? Good. We're good. Good.
Don't mind me. I'll just have my coffee. I wear my Bigfoot shirt for today.
Can everyone hear us? Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesome.
Mm.
Thank you. All right. We are actually live 3 places today. We are live on not only my Twitch channel, but I created a Twitch channel for my business, and I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
accidentally connected that one first because it automatically connected from this page, and I was like, oh shoot, and then I was like, you know what, just leave it, just leave it. And I'm also on our Native Origin Stories YouTube page as well.
Oh, the
Oh,
native. I was on your page.
nah,
No wonder I can find it. Okay, hold on. Let me.
joking.
It's like what the heck? Here?
We are actually streaming today from StreamYard, which is where I record all the podcasts. It's very funny because it's like I've never recorded from here before. Like I've recorded obviously from here, but I don't really go there we go. I've never streamed from here before. So
From
uh
StreamYard?
yeah, from StreamYard at all because I'm like, okay. So the thing about it is sometimes when we're recording my furnace goes on, and that's what caused most of our audio issues. So I'm hoping
Hours and hours of having to fix
I've
it.
tried to fix the thing. But can y'all hear my I don't see it. It's not interacting. Like I don't see it lighting up at all. So it should be okay.
On the StreamYard,
Yeah. Like
the board is lighting up. Everyone, we're lighting up. Hey, look at that! I'm even on camera today for just
yes.
for this specific podcast. I was gonna use my picture. I was gonna use
Yes.
AI picture. What do you call those AI animation you can people use? I'll use
Um
that. Where people are still joining us. I'm trying to post on mine. I was trying to post. I posted the other day on mine, but
mm,
I'm trying to send both links.
okay.
So
Okay.
apologies if
No, go ahead.
we have viewers listening to us and they're like, "When are you gonna get to your
What do you
thing? Are you?
think?
What are you guys
Listen,
doing? Hurry up!
we're,
Hurry
this
up!
is
Let me."
live. This is live.
Oh,
We're here to chat with you all. I did ask people to submit questions on our YouTube
you
page.
get it.
Or no, Instagram. Instagram. I saw that.
I asked no one to submit anything, and I was like, "Leave me alone."
Ah, but yeah, I have not streamed from StreamYard everywhere. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Yeah,
Year!
this is the first time me ever streaming on here. So originally when I was going to do my podcast, I was actually going to do this. I was going to interview everyone this way and do uh it live. Like that was my original plan.
Hmm.
And then I think it's because I got so nervous because I was already late. Like there were so many like pressures, like trying to get this done on time that I was just like, you know what? Me and Roger talked about it, and I was like, you know what? Let's just like take the pressure off, record the episodes, and we'll worry about the other things afterwards. There's always, second seasons or other seasons that we do so that we can, continue on. But
You're
yeah,
right. That's it.
now
And
that
I
the
think you were trying to go live, and I was kind of like, well, I could work. It may totally could work, but that just makes it
exactly.
makes more work for us, which is fine. Which is it's not about that, but sometimes it's like, I think because of the schedule and time crunch we had, it would have
Yeah.
been twice as much effort that we had to put it. Which is, again, it would have burnt us out. I think a lot.
I
My
think so
thought
too.
was it would have burnt us out a bit more,
Yeah. Because
and we didn't want that.
I was already getting stressed about just finishing on time. Like I still have to write the report because I actually got a grant for this podcast. So I have to get like an actual report to submit um to the funder who gave me the money. And so yeah. So all the money spent. everything's spent in my budget, how I proposed it. Uh, so now I can like actually write the proposal and say like, "Hey, I did all the things I said I was gonna do. I spent the money how I said I was gonna spend it." And yeah, I mean, there's still some there, like I said, there was a video component that was supposed to happen, and it's still gonna happen, but we did the clips. I posted a lot of clips. If you are not following my podcast page, so that is Native Origin Stories on YouTube, and TikTok. I also have it on TikTok as well. I've been posting clips. I'm behind on some of the clips because I accidentally deleted some clips. I don't know if I don't know what I did with them, to be honest. I'm not even too sure if I did them. I think I meant to use something with them, but I accidentally deleted the whole video. And when I mean deleted it from the program because it generates clips. Although I will say I had to manually do all the clips the past 2 people, and, I think I like it better. I think I liked it better. I like the process. It takes a little bit longer. So now I have to finish the last 2 people who we interviewed and do those clips, but before we get started, you know what? I mean, we're just kind of been here gabbing with everyone. Thank you for stopping by. All right, first of all,
We're not. This isn't like this is official, but it's not an official. We
yeah,
just want to.
so
We want to kind of spend New Year's with some of the fans who've been listening. I think you have some really great feedback from people, and you have some really great
mhm,
guests too. So um,
exactly. So
if we mess up, and if this becomes an actual recorded podcast, Aretha, like don't be like, hey, that doesn't sound. I would have edited that out, but it's like we're just recording, okay? Like we're just recording, and we appreciate you listening and being here.
mhm. Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. If for some reason you are here and you don't know who I am, hi, my name is simply Aretha. My name is Aretha Greatrix. I am an Indigenous filmmaker, content creator, and streamer. I do make films, mostly. I've made documentaries in the past. I've made some music videos. And yeah, I'm trying to get into more scripted things. And one of the things that I've always wanted to get more into is podcasting. So, yeah, so that's why I created this podcast because I was like, what would I talk about? I don't even know. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. I had this great idea. I proposed it. I got a grant for it. It was funded by Indigenous Screen Office, and I later on, after like I was selected as one of the recipients of this grant. Um, it was told to us later on that it was gonna be in partnership with Acast, so I got a influencer membership. It's supposed to be a lifetime membership of the podcast, so, basically, I have access to, all the, um yeah, all the things they have in Acast. Usually you have to pay a membership, but like I said, I get it for free because it's part of the partnership with Indigenous Screen Office for the lifetime of the podcast. So that's why everything I uploaded was to Acast specifically. And but Acast then pushes it out to all other podcast platforms. So you can listen to it everywhere and anywhere that podcasts are available. And, yeah, so you can listen to it anytime, feel free. I see all the analytics, I see people listening to it at other places as well. I do have a beacon, which is nativeoriginstories.com that has all the links to places you could see it. I also have been putting every episode there's a second page, and there's also another page that people can, um, support the podcast because like I said, I got a grant for the first season. To continue on, I have to then either find a way to, you know, to basically support the podcast in other years. I mean, could I do it for free? Technically, yes. But I love the part that I created where it's a part of reciprocity of like people are sharing their stories with me. So I want, well, us, and I want to be able to give back and say thank you for sharing their story. So even if I can't give them what I gave them this time, even just like, like a gift of some sort to say thank you, I would love to be able to do that and continue to do that. So in creating this podcast, actually had another team who was supposed to help me. Um, but life happens, and like I said, I was a little bit behind on doing it, and so everyone kind of got kind of busy, and so I was talking to Roger about it, and Roger was like, "Well, I've done podcasts, and I'll help you." And I was like, "Awesome. Thank you so much." So Roger has been unofficially helping me in the background, but also editing the podcast. So, all complaints go to him. No, just joking, just joking.
Yeah, everything complain to me. Complain.
Yes. So Roger, would you like
Send
to
to
introduce?
1-800. Just just kidding. I should say
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Um,
Oh my God. And you want to introduce yourself, Roger?
yeah, I guess I'm the guy that people go to when they need when they go. What is that? I used to use the Simpsons joke. You tried everyone else, now try the rest or something. And here I am. I'm the person they come to when they try everyone and no everyone
Mhm,
says no and they're desperate.
mhm,
I just kidding. No. Um, no, you. I remember we were talking because me and Aretha game a lot, so together.
mhm,
So I didn't say we have a team, but we're on this. Or I was on the same team on Dead by Daylight and sometimes Fortnite. And
mhm,
you were talking about it, and I thought you were telling me the challenges. We were just talking about it, and I said, well, and I offered my help. I said, well, I've done this before. It's
mhm,
to me, I've done it so many times. And this is the good thing. I've done podcasts before they became cool, and everyone does them. And not saying that you know there's any kind of trend to hop on, but it was you had an idea and you had a kind of idea for a series, and I've done that before. I've done it way in the past, and I know I have my own podcast that I just haven't released. I have like 6 unreleased episodes or 7 unreleased episodes that I still have to. That was my goal.
mhm,
So I thought, what a great opportunity for me to kind of dust off the podcast mic and everything. And we did have the good thing about it was I like the good thing about I think
mhm,
what's the good thing? It was just you had a plan. You had people. um, I'm going to say this. I'm not calling anyone out, but you had people who were unable to kind of be there and kind of partake because of I guess schedules became tough.
mhm,
So then it was like, for example, an editor, you had someone in mind, but when you couldn't find when it like wasn't able to kind of make things work, it was like, well,
mhm.
I just for the sake of getting things done, I know sometimes a lot of times just getting it done. You just have to get it
Yeah.
done. You're not trying to be perfect. You have a timeline. You have a time limit. And we had a meeting, and I don't know if Aretha was surprised that I was actually taking it seriously. So I was like, we had a meeting about it and we planned everything out. And then, yeah, I joke around a lot, but when it comes down to work, it's like I'm kind of it's a different approach. But I always joke around about this stuff. Like even now, I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll just show up at what is it, 3 o'clock on my time, and we'll just start talking. But here we are. Sometimes I think that's a lot of things too. People have ideas for podcasts because people have asked me. This is in the past when I did like 3 or 4 shows.
Mhm,
Um, we had people ask me like, they ask, how do you start and what do you do? And I was telling them, well, you have your phone. You have like I was showing someone before. For example, if you want to start a podcast and you have an idea, write down. I'll just say arbitrary 10 episodes. Call it your
mhm,
season one. 10 episode ideas. Do you want to interview people or you just want to talk about subjects? Because you could have do a 10-minute podcast. And that like a 10-minute YouTube video is pretty standard for YouTube.
mhm.
But people look at I'd say like if you're doing a podcast, you want to aim for 20 to 30 minutes, but you don't have to because there's nothing written in stone, as they say. Um, I think you want to just look at what you have, and everyone has an iPhone or a Android or something else, but something to
Mhm,
record. So there's lots of free editing softwares out there, and there's a lot of free places for you to host. YouTube being one of them, you can totally host your things on YouTube as long as you're using non-copyrighted music. But they even have music you can go into the YouTube. Anyways, I'm getting ahead. I'm just totally giving this big classes. The thing is, write down your idea. Write down 10 ideas and
mhm,
topics or people you want to interview. Use your Zoom or use record on your phone. Record record a video call on your phone um, through your phone software and just have a 10-15 minute call with someone and post it on YouTube. There you go. You're a YouTuber. Or you're not a YouTuber, you're a podcaster and or YouTuber.
mhm,
Anyway, I don't know. I was going somewhere with that, but I think I enjoyed the challenge and I enjoyed podcasting. and I was really happy to kind of step on board because I wanted to see you succeed. I want to see you make sure you got all this done. So um, it's good when when I work with someone who is serious about it. Not to say, and I'm not trying to. I say that I make it sound like I'm calling someone out and like calling people. It's like what I mean by that is like you were serious about it. You showed up, you did the work, you put in the effort. We made a
Hmm.
timeline, we made a schedule, we made a list of guests. We took stock of kind of things that you had and what you needed, and
Hmm.
we just went from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm talking a
And
lot now.
well, and we had a whole process too, because that was one of the feedback that I actually got from like one of the guests, was you know, they commented on like how professional and organized we were, because like when I set up everyone, like I I was always here like extra early. I was here to do any tech test. I was willing to arrange a tech test prior to it. Um, I gave them sample 10 questions that I possibly was going to ask. And with with the caveat that like we might not get to any of these questions and I might ask all the questions. I don't know. It really depends, because I wanted every conversation we had to be conversational. And so I wanted to make sure that, questions might come up, or I might realize like, "Oh, you've just answered all these questions." Although I will say when I did that, um, some people were like expecting me to ask specific questions and we just didn't get to them. Oh, you just
Sorry, I was trying to press full screen.
I'm like, "Why are
You're
you?"
talking, and I'm like trying to press it because I was trying to see you, like you talking. So I think, okay, just
Oh,
go,
no.
carry on.
Okay. Y'all are too funny. I think there's a way that you can do that. Hold on. Is it
It's
like
okay.
speaker?
You know how in Zoom they have like, was it Zoom
Yeah.
when someone's talking to you? Yeah,
No,
I
yeah,
was
there
trying to set
is.
that up so we can see you talking, but it's okay. It's okay. We could just leave it like this. Sorry.
Ah.
For the
See, now
listeners,
you just now you just got me distracted. I'm
who
like, "What?"
I forgot
Mhm.
the ADHD there. I know. I'm just
I know.
kidding. I'm joking. It's just, um, yeah, no, I was trying to fix something on here on the video for me, so when Rita's talking, that we can just see her. But it's okay. We don't have to do that, Rita. It's okay. It's fine.
Wow.
Sorry. Let's go back to what you were
Nice.
saying.
Wow.
Okay, so some of
What
the
we're
guests were
saying. Yes.
the guests were
Oh,
talking about how you're professional, like your whole setup
yeah.
was.
Yeah, because I like I said, I came up with 10 questions, but it was more so for me so I could keep on topic. But yeah, there was one guest who literally I got to ask one question, and then because they were like, "Oh, you sent me all the questions, I'm just gonna answer them all in one go." And I was like, "You know what? I'll just be here listening." Um, but yeah, it was very interesting. Uh Yeah, it was just very interesting how each guest was different. And obviously we had guests who, who especially the streamers and the people who make online content,
Mm,
they had like the systems and stuff. And then, the people who aren't really streamers and don't really create a lot of online content, we kind of had to like try to, as long as we had good audio, we were just like, you know what, everything else is fine.
yep.
Um, because it wasn't the focus. We just wanted to make sure that we had good audio. And like I said, I stream from my basement, and my my furnace is right next to me. And I swear that furnace would go off like the amount of time. So in between, after that, I was like, Roger, I'm like, I can hear this damn furnace. So in between when I wasn't talking, I would always mute my mic. Um, because I was like, yeah, I need to do something so that it's a lot easier. And, yeah, it was just there were so many things that I learned, but I would like to continue, and I actually would like to do more live streams,
Hmm.
um, and interviewing people, because I feel like, uh, one of my biggest takeaways, I think, is that, uh, the episodes that I thought that would do really well didn't do as well as I thought would do, and I was trying to see, like, what made certain episodes do better than others.
Mm,
And I've noticed it was the guests themselves. If the guests themselves also shared them with their communities, whether it doesn't matter because everyone was in media, everyone had social media, everyone has a following of their own, and if they shared it with their communities, those episodes tended to do better
Mhm.
than the people who didn't share them with their community. So yeah, it was just an interesting fact because I never asked them to. I did say when I did send them stuff that, hey, when your episode is going to be live, we will let you know and I will share the links with you. So I did tag them in their links and let them know like when their episode was going live. So they were all aware. Um and yeah, it's kind of it was one of the things that I noticed. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have asked them. Can you share can you share your episode with, you know, with your community as well so that, you know, if they want to listen to your episode because yeah, they all had really great things to say. Um I loved all of my guests. I think they were great. And I tried to make it so that I had like a few people in different careers and different fields.
Mhm.
And there's definitely some fields that I never got. Like I was saying, when I was trying to get like the few last people, I was like, you know who I don't have? I don't have anyone who's like in like cooking or like cuisine or you know what I mean? Like I have no one in like cooking and I still don't. So I'm like, maybe.
So, any bannock makers out there, want to tell Aretha you're available? Just kidding. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Well, it's
Okay.
first of all, it really sounded like, and I like to see this. I like to see this in terms of when I do the podcast, like the host really
Hmm.
grows in terms of like, oh, your takeaway is not asking the guest to kind of share with them and not encouraging them to share enough, but it's also uh, realizing that these are things on your end that to do next time, right? To ask,
Hmm.
if you could, and we're not like saying you have to share this, but it's like sometimes it was, oh, can you share this? Actually, it helps.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good takeaway. I mean, for people starting podcasts, right? You want to ask your guests to kind of what is it? A call to action? Is that what it is? The call to action is please help share so we can get more viewers. Because obviously you want to keep making this series native origin stories, and I think I like when we go back through the stats because the stats don't lie, or is that to say the we see
That's
we
why.
look at those stats and we kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, so we kind of real. I think you're realizing we did this the other day. We went back through it and we're talking about, oh, your top three kind of
Yeah.
subjects and themes, whatever topics. We kind of saw what those were. We kind of try to figure out breakdown from there what made those the most listened to downloaded episodes, right? So, and I always
Hmm.
think like if you look at your top three podcast numbers, and you can always kind of be informed from there because people are tuning in for those specific episodes. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you want to kind of start maybe doing more episodes in those areas. So I think for season two, that's something also, adding the cuisine and cooking uh stuff, cooking guests, chefs or guests. I
Yeah.
think that going that would be another just to see how that goes. But
Hmm.
yeah, definitely season two is like if we focus on the top three that you had moments, and then yeah. Um, Let me ask you this. I have a couple. I
Okay.
prepared a couple of questions.
All right.
I make it sound like I didn't pray. I just looked up some questions, and
Just
I'll
looked up
ask you in
questions.
my words.
All
So
right. Tell me.
let the viewers and let's talk. So how did you start? Where would this idea come from?
Uh, I so one of the things that I try to focus on as much as possible is I love uplifting other people and I love to show how and I love to learn. I honestly generally if I ask you how you are, I generally want to know. And I think that's always been something that I've had. I think it's I've actually been seeing a lot of TikTok videos about it, but like apparently it's possibly an ADHD thing that like I'm not a big fan of small talk. Like I if I'm asking you how you are, I'm not doing it to be like I generally want to know. So I'm never going to ask you a question that I don't want to know the answer to. I generally want to know. Um and so when I was thinking about um a podcast or even like a talk show, I was like, what would I focus on? And one of the parts is that because a lot of the work that I've been doing in the past couple years has been trying to uplift indigenous like streamers and content creators. And then I was like, wow, that could actually be really big because although I am a streamer and a content creator as well, I'm also a filmmaker. Roger and I both met at a producer's workshop years ago. um, and we we both were well, we're both are still producers, but we both work in the film industry and we know how hard it is even being in the film industry trying to, move forward and make these things. And I was like, you know what? I feel like there's so many great people who are doing good work and I want to know their stories about how did they, decide, hey, I'm going to be a filmmaker, a writer, like what made them want to be a storyteller in some way or share their lives with other people. And so that was the concept I have before. And then to be honest, the native origin stories kind of, I don't know if I just like sometimes my best ideas come to me in dreams. I'm one of those people that sometimes I'll just have dreams and I'll dream about it and I'll be like, "Oh, that's a good idea." And I think this one might have been one that came to me in a dream of native origin stories, like even the name, because yeah, I was trying to think of like how do I package it in such a way that can be enticing for people, but also communicate like what it is that I'm trying to say. And my biggest thing was saying that no one gets where they are, overnight. Sure, there's like always the outliers that are just gonna, be successful, and just everything just seems to fall into place for them. But, most people, have been working at it or dreaming about it for like their whole lives. And I wanted to know what their stories were. Like, how did they get there? How did they know? Did they ever decide, like, oh, goodness, like, this is never going to work? But then it did work. And, like, I wanted to know those stories because I feel like anytime we think of our lives, sometimes we can kind of feel like it feels like we're the only one this is happening to. But I think in my few years of living, I've learned more than once that is usually not true. There's usually someone else who has a story who's similar to yours or who has had a story that started out kind of similar to yours, but they're now like in a place where they're like, I made it through to the end. And so I wanted to share those stories so that hopefully people are inspired to keep going, keep working towards their dream, to keep moving forward. And even though it feels really hard right now, that success is possible, that achieving what they want to get, reaching their goals is possible. And, showing people who have done that work too. And maybe you can resonate with one of the guests or one of the people sharing their stories and, and, and yeah, and you could do it too. So that's That's my whole motivation for this podcast.
Well, there you go.
Mhm.
Rita's like, if I can do it, you can do it. There you go.
Right? Exactly. Thanks for summing that.
There you go. Hopes and dreams are part of the name of the
Mhm,
game. Um, One thing I do want to comment on is that it was really good to see how you grew since from episode one, and I knew there was
mhm,
probably a bit of nervousness on your end to kind of like, oh man, because I think you when I say nervousness, I feel like I was encouraging you to kind of go at it solo, where I think you wanted to
mhm,
have and please
mhm.
correct me if I'm wrong on this, but your idea you wanted to have two guests. I think that was kind of the idea you originally wanted to
2
do.
hosts, 2 hosts.
Two hosts, two
Mhm.
guests, two hosts is what I meant to say. Two hosts, and I think the first couple episodes, I don't want to say they're rough, but I can tell there was a bit of nervousness because you're just kind of fitting into it. But I think after that, it only took a couple episodes, and I think you found your groove, you got into your groove. Um,
Hmm.
walk us through that process, Aretha. Explain to us like how you intended to come into the podcast, and versus now you're as a solo host. What did you take from that?
Yeah, so, yeah, I did have an idea, to have a co-host, and mostly because you know how when you, like I'm one of those people that uh I've kind of been like the fine, I'll do it myself kind of thing. I never intend to do things by myself. It always ends up being by myself. And sometimes I think like, oh, maybe this could have been better if I had that guest with me or that person to like ask the questions or, um work off of, like kind of even like banter and even talk, like maybe that would be more like relaxing because if we're like, oh, here's a group of people, talking and um this way I'm not kind of in control of like filling the air. Uh and so I was really I guess nervous. I almost felt like I don't want to say like I couldn't do it, but kind of like I was afraid to do it. I okay, and this I've said this to Roger before, but I sometimes just don't think I'm entertaining. I don't think I'm enough of a draw, and I've kind of just come to terms with that like that people are more entertaining than I am. But I just generally want to be there because I want to know what people are doing. And all my energy goes into uplifting other people. And I really do that. So I'm like, you know what? It's like I'm okay with being boring. I'm okay with being boring. I just want to do what I'm going to do so I can uplift and support other people. And that is my mission. And I'm okay with that. And so I think that's why I thought I didn't want to be a solo host because I just thought that no one's gonna show up. Um, and so and in that same sense, I kind of wanted another guest because I was hoping, I mean, another co-host because I was hoping that as a team, we could use both of our connections to then ask people to be on the podcast. And then, we can, uplift the other people. So my motivation is always how do I uplift the people that I'm bringing on the podcast as much as possible? Like that is always my motivation. Not really for myself, but for like, okay, I need this to happen. And and I guess through the whole process, I was like, during the same time, life has also taught me that before doing that, you have to also have a really good team. Like you have to have someone that you are on the same page and things like that, especially when you work together. Because I actually did have business partners when I had my film company before. And, sometimes it felt like with my film company specifically, like it just felt like, I felt even though I was part of a team, I still felt very like lonely, like I was doing a lot of things by myself. Um, and so I think that was it too. I was also having a hard time finding a right fit. I had someone in mind, and they
Scheduling conflicts. It was
yeah,
very
scheduling
critics,
conflicts.
yeah.
Yeah, but also I wasn't the person who thought of them originally. It was actually the funder who suggested them to me.
Mhm.
And so, but I knew them, so I was like, you know what, I sure I'll ask them, and it seemed like a great fit. But yeah, exactly, it was like scheduling conflicts. They're quite busy doing their own thing right now, and they're doing so many things right now, and it's like, um, yeah. So I never moved forward saying like, oh, I'm just gonna move forward because I can do it by myself. It was no, I did reach out to them, and they were the ones who were like, I'm actually really busy, and I'm like, not a problem.
Mhm.
Not a problem. And, because like I just wanted to make sure that we were moving. My motto to life, and this is my indigenous teaching, is Mio Pamatsuan, which is an indigenous teaching, which is good path, good way in life, good way forward. You always want to start in a good way. So even before I moved forward, I reached out to this person. I made sure we were still good. And because I was like, hey, I'm going to start the podcast. And they were like, I'm a little busy doing other things. And I'm like, you know what? Not a problem. I just want to make sure that we're good and that you're okay with me moving forward. as a solo host, and I wish you all the success in all your future projects and stuff. And they're doing really, really great, and they're still very supportive of me and my and this project. Um, yeah, so it was a very good process of, again, just talking to people, always making sure that the purpose of the podcast was always the front and center, right? So it wasn't about like what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to get from it, anything like that. It's just how do I build a platform that uplifts and supports other people in a way that shares their stories with other people so that hopefully, it can help inspire you to move forward with whatever it is you're doing.
Mm. So when you look, when you're going back from there and going from that kind of,
Mhm.
I don't say angle, but when you're going from that, after you work through all that, like,
Mhm.
and now that you've finished the episode, kind of what were some of the things along the way, along the road to getting to here that we handed in the last episode? Well, handed in, we make it sound more. We posted the last episode.
Yeah.
You're done. You accomplished that. And now that you see that, I don't feel you're boring. I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of this, and a lot of us face this too, right? We
Yeah.
look at because we look at it, it's a natural thing to compare ourselves to people that we're like, oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to try that. But then we see them
Mhm.
and they're like, but they're so good at it, right? They're so like,
Mhm.
I don't measure. Like thinking for myself,
Yeah.
like, I don't measure up to that host,
Mhm.
um, or that entertainer because I'm not trying to be an entertainer. But
Mhm.
I do enjoy this. I do love like talking like this. I do love doing podcasts. I do love doing like video
Mhm.
stuff like this. But I don't feel like I'm good enough to like think that anyone's gonna want to watch me, right? So that's the one thing, getting over that challenge and that way of thinking too,
Mhm.
because I mean, you're in one hand you say this, right? So you're saying like, oh,
Mhm.
people aren't going to tune in to watch me, but people did tune in to watch you, and people do are in our live stream right now. We have, it says we have 8 viewers, and maybe that's my three. It could be three of my devices on. I'm just joking, but there's 8 viewers. We had
Mhm.
about 12 viewers, 12 to 14 viewers, just kind of joining you. Like you
Mhm.
think about that. I saw this post by Gary
Mhm.
V, and Gary V. I used to like really way when I got this is like over a decade ago when I was into my
Mhm.
online YouTube type stuff. Like I never became a YouTuber. I wasn't trying to become. I was trying to because I want to make movies, right?
Mhm.
My view has changed on all this because I feel like this is a way to, and I've always kind of felt this. The only thing is, I like a decade ago, I was like, oh, I should have got into it then because I could have
Mhm.
built it up now. Anyways, that's not the point. I'm digress. I digress. What I'm saying is, Gary V was
Mhm.
one of whoever you think he is now. Back in the day, he was very inspirational in terms of how he was very realistic about how he was
Mhm.
approaching like online work, right? And he was very encouraging like
Mhm.
that. And I always try to take that. So he posted this picture. It's a roundabout way of me saying Gary V posted that had this post on his Instagram the other day that popped up, and he says, um, people are sometimes people go like, oh, only 8 people are listening to us right now. And then he put the realistic, you're sitting around a table and there's eight to 10 people, and it's like this is how 8 to 10 people looks. It's like a big room with people.
Mhm.
Then obviously the number goes up from there, like 20, 100,
Mhm.
1,000, like you think about that. You don't realize how big those numbers are. And I feel like it was really good to see you grow from like
Mhm.
you're unsure to like your uncertainty to your certainty, if that makes sense. And I really enjoy that, and I feel like you have a lot to say, you have a lot to offer, and you are a very good
Mhm.
host on camera, and overall
Mhm.
in general as a host. um what every host has to do is just find their I don't say their groove, but for lack of a better term, I can't think of it right now. But you want to find as a host, you want to find your groove. Where are you, right?
Mhm.
And I crack jokes, I make jokes. I don't come across very seriously. I think I'm very unworrying about a lot of stuff. Like in general, I think
Mhm.
like it just what was the comment someone made? It feels someone who's close to me had said this. It was like it's sometimes it comes across like you don't care, and I'm like probably because that's just my groove, right? It's just where I am. But do I care? Of course. Because when we sat
Mhm.
down and we talked about your podcast, I wasn't like joking about it. I was like, I think
Yeah.
I was very active. So I'm just not trying to make it about me. What I'm just trying to say is you have to find your groove as a host. And I think you did. You grew from that.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I just want to commend you on that. just make comments and make comments with you. But I just wanted to say, like, I
Yeah.
feel like you had to go through that, and
Mhm.
I like to think that you, and I want to encourage that you're at a
Mhm.
place where it's like you are. How can I say this? I'll just put it blunt. You are good enough as a host. You're good enough. Okay, believe in yourself
Thanks.
and be confident in yourself. Because I think you're doing this, and I feel like
Mhm.
there's there's a you have a voice that you need to share, and
Mhm.
it's always this thing about finding your 1,000. It was like this comment 1,000, find your 1,000 true fans, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to have like a million. We don't like,
Mhm.
what was that, another I think I was sending you some podcast people were talking about starting a podcast, and it was like the top 1% is like Joe Rogan type
Mm.
podcasters,
Yeah.
interviewers. But we're not trying to be we're not trying to be him. We're
Mm-mm.
just trying to, you're trying to be someone who you're interviewing guests who are interest you, are interested
Mhm.
topics, people who are working in areas and topics that interest you.
Mhm.
And like going forward now, what were your, what are your top, what are you interested in? What are your top three things you're interested in going forward? What subjects and areas are you interested in that you would like to
Mm.
explore?
Well, I definitely want to do more podcasts, and I feel like I want to do more like live versions of like this
Mhm.
possibly, even if it's just like, oh, posting this and then editing it later. I want to possibly do that. I do have another podcast that I'm developing right now with my friend Cora Lee, who has a company called The Matrix. I'm actually wearing her shirt. I didn't plan this. I was like, oh, this
Ooh.
looks comfortable. I'm gonna wear
Oh, oh,
I'm
the
gonna wear
shirt.
I didn't plan that. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be comfy today." And then I was like, "Oh, by the way, this is my friend's, company, The Matrix." She does a lot
1999. I'm not just
of
kidding.
well, she does a lot of, like, self-help things, and, like, her big thing is helping, especially, like, mothers, she's doing a whole program right now, helping, like, women who are in, second stage shelters.
Mm,
So, yeah. So, I mean, I learned so much about shelters from her, like, and how they work and how, like, if you get put into a shelter with your family, you're only allowed to be there for so long, and then, then if you don't have anywhere to go, you can go to a second stage shelter that kinda gives you a little bit more time. So, she helps them with, like, reflecting. She does this thing called, Louise Hayes, which she does a lot of, like, work through that as well. Um, and basically shares her life story with them as well. And and so, yeah, so she is probably, if she is not my biggest fan of my podcast, I don't know. Well, actually, no. I think I've got a few fans. People have told me they have listened to every episode, so I do know that I have a few fans who are, they listen to every episode. Um, and so, yeah, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that." And she does these lives on Facebook and on Instagram, like, every day. She tries to do, like, a little live where she does it, like, couple seconds and posts it. And I actually took her to BAM because she was actually my mentee for, so I'm doing a documentary right now. She is my mentee because, she was like, one time she let me know that she was interested in filmmaking and being a producer. And I was like, "Oh, so you wanna learn how to be a producer?" So, I remembered that when I was doing this project, so I contacted her and said, "If you're still interested, I will write you in as a mentee," and she's also my production assistant, um, into this budget, so you can basically job shadow me, and I will share everything I know about being a producer, and so she can help me along the way. So, because of that, I brought her to BAMP one year, and, we talked about her creating her podcast, and actually she probably basically everything I just told you about myself, I've heard from her. And, so she was supposed to do her own podcast,
mm.
but then, and we do work together. If I do work together with someone in person, it's usually Coralie. We'll do work together, we'll be in the same room, she'll be working on her thing, I'll be working on my own thing, and, of course, I'm there if she has any questions, if she needs any help or someone to bounce ideas off of. And, sometimes we get into these big philosophical. conversations or just topics of like everyday things. And and then she's like, I know I still want to do the podcast, but how about we do a podcast together? So we are developing a podcast. Uh, her, it's called The Auntie's Medicine. We're working on it right now to hopefully to develop it more and kind of do what we're doing now, which is like recording it live and then having episodes go. And I'm basically taking everything that I've learned from this process. Cause yeah, she wanted to do one like a live like every week. And I was like, okay, let's that actually is a lot of work. I think that I if we weren't on such a time crunch, I think I would have done it over a year and then did like an episode a month or something like that. Cause then I could have focused on every episode more, promoted it more, did all that work. Um, and I think I could have made it like just kind of gave it more time to breathe. But I was, yeah, like I said, I was on a time crunch. So yeah, definitely taking everything that I've learned from here and I'm gonna apply it to that as well. Um, so that we could have these conversations and post our podcast. So yeah, so that's basically my plan for that. I am gonna hopefully do another podcast. I do have other ideas for other podcasts, but I might just make it like a talking thing where I just talk about certain things. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I am at that point because I feel like doing this process did give me a little bit more of that motivation in and also that confidence that people want to hear what I have to say. So I feel like I'm getting more of that confidence. So how do I then share, things that I know? And a lot of things are just things that um I've just learned from life, from many years of therapy and also just like building my own like confidence in how to move forward. Cause like I said, if I had to say how I was when I first started streaming to where I am now, like especially on places like Twitch, I didn't even have my camera on the first time because I was just so nervous. Whereas now I'm like, I don't even care. Like today I was gonna do my makeup, but I was just too tired. I was like, whatever. I mean, I washed my face and I put my, my cream on so I could still look like I'm under 40. But 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 like, you know what I mean? Like I could tell right now my face is all red because I'm like, ugh, I don't know why. Maybe it's because my sweater. I don't know. I'm hot. But um
You're like, I woke up this morning. Yeah, 2026, whatever.
right?
Put the camera on.
I was
Let's go.
listen, I was up pretty late last night. I was like, you know what? I'm too tired for this. I had some breakfast, I was watching a movie before we started. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna relax and just show up whatever. I really have kind of not not that I don't care.
Hmm.
It's just carefree. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Where it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up because I want to show up, but I also just want to show up as me with the least amount of effort
Yeah.
kind of thing. Because I'm like, yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of just showing up. Showing up is like the hardest part, to be honest.
Yeah.
But also just knowing that whoever's gonna be here is gonna be here. Whoever's gonna hear this is gonna hear this. Uh, you know, whoever's gonna come into chat and say hi, also hi.
Exactly. Hi, Dwayne. Oh, that's my buddy Dwayne. Dwayne, get back to hockey. Just kidding. Good to see you, man. Good to see you if you're still here. Good to see
Exactly.
you. Thanks for stopping
Yeah.
by.
Who's gonna stop by and say hi,
Yeah.
hi Bori. Is gonna be here, and so I feel like I've done what I've committed to do, which is coming here and showing live and sharing my story. And it's kind of up to the other person if they want to come or not. And that's okay. If they don't want to be here, they don't want to be here. If they want to stay, they want to stay. If
Mhm.
they want to say hi, they want to say hi. It's like it's understanding like what is my role and my responsibility and what have I committed to? And that's what I've committed. And that's all I can control. I can only control that. Whether or not people show up, come say hi, or decide to tune in or whatever, that's up to them.
Mhm.
And, you know, they're more than welcome to stay. They're more than welcome to be here. I appreciate everybody. But again, like there's nothing I can do about it if they decide they don't want to be here.
Mhm.
Or for whatever reason they didn't find the channel yet, But one
Well,
day they will be, and I'll be here.
well, well, with all that being said, going forward, what are some of the goals that you're hoping for? Like, so we're talking. So January 1st, we're recording the podcast. So if anyone's listening, comes back it's January 1st afternoon, 2026. Wow,
Mhm.
another year. 2000. The year 2000 was 26 years ago. That's crazy. I
Mhm.
must have been about four. So yeah. Um, but that's crazy. So new
Liar.
year. What does it say? New year, new me.
New year, new me.
Yeah. So what are some of your goals that you're hoping for 2026?
No, no, I feel I know. I was just saying the other day, so I was streaming with my mom and my aunt last year, literally last year. Um, yeah, last night, and I was saying that the only time I've ever gone downtown during New Year's was in 1999, and I
Mhm.
was like,
You were a kid.
I was
You were just born.
just born, right? No, I think I was like a late teenager. I don't know if I was 18 yet. I feel like I wasn't exactly 18 yet. I think I was
Mm.
like close to it. But anyways, but yeah, I went downtown and it was supposed to be 1999, all the computers were supposed to stop working, because they didn't plan ahead of 00 happening, and the Y2K thing was supposed to happen. So I was there with like my mom, my brother, my friends, right? And and it's really cold here where I get like, it gets really cold. And, there were free buses that when it was over, you could get on the bus and it would take you whatever. So, like, you could just park your car at, like, a place that you can catch the bus. So, that's what we did. And so we were getting on this bus, and I went to get on this bus, and I can't remember if someone pushed me first, but I fell on the bus, like the front of the bus. So I was on the ground, and then people were trying to get on the bus still and were like almost stepping on me. And of course, I'm glad my brother was there. My brother Travis, who's like 5 years older than me. And he just like, and he's like 6'2", 6'3". He just like pushed everyone out of the way and then like picked me up on the front of the bus because I was like almost traveled on this damn bus. And I think that was, like, the first and only time I've ever gone downtown. Ever since then, I'm like, "I'll be at home. It's cool. I don't really need to go anywhere." Uh, 10 years ago, my mom and I went to the casino, and again, it was, like, so busy. We ended up renting a hotel that was near there as well, and, it's just to me, as someone who's, like, an introvert and doesn't like being around many people, I was like, "You know what? I'd rather be at home." But,
Mhm.
yeah, it was very relaxing, but it did make me think of like, yeah, what is it that I wanna do for the next couple years and my goals and things like that. And I was asking people in chat as well, like, what were your goals? If anyone wants to share what their goals are for 2026, please let me know. Um, yeah, I definitely wanna, I do I hate saying this because I feel like I've said it so many times that I'm like, I feel bad now because I feel like I've just said it too many times, but, um I was sick over the summer. I was really sick, and I'm still sick technically, like, I have to not overdo it, and I'm beginning to recognize the signs when I'm doing too much, and I I feel like I a lot of the things that I wanted to do this year, I didn't get to do because I was in the hospital. I was actually really, really sick, and so this year, I don't wanna catch up because I don't wanna overdo it. But it did make me think of, like, all the things that if I had the energy, what would I have done last year and worked on? And I still had things that I wanted to work on, and I still wanna work on this year. Like I said, I do wanna do more podcasting. I do wanna, like, uh, share what I'm doing in some way, and I do wanna do more streams. I was very consistent with streaming. I used to stream 3 times a week, and, uh I mean, I do stream quite a bit still, but I definitely, there's a big gap in my streams. So I would like to get that consistency back. And I would like to have, again, building that audience a little bit more. I've gone from Like when we talk on Twitch, we talk about CCV, and I want to like do baby steps again, just with the concept of I'm going to commit to being here these days, and whoever's going to be there is going to be there. Whoever wants to be part of the community is going to be there. Whoever wants to share and play games with me is going to be there. And yeah, and just being live and there for when those people want to join, or if they want to join, then I'm there. But if not, I can still be playing games by myself and, creating content and just creating all those things, and being like, this is okay. I like this. Because being a professional streamer is never my goal. It's never been my goal. My dream in life is to be a showrunner. I want to create a TV show and I want to be a showrunner. That's been my dream and my goal forever. So that is what I'm working on. So I want to do more writing. I want to get more grants to help me develop those scripts. I have talked to this past year to other writers, especially writers on TV and other producers who have produced TV shows. I've told them about my idea that I want to develop. And, everyone who I've told about this idea is like, you need to make that. That needs to be a thing. I would watch that. And so I really want to create that TV show. And even if it's like, you know what, I created it and it doesn't go past it, at least I tried, and I haven't gotten to that point yet where I've actually written the script. I have an outline, I have an idea, and I haven't done that part yet. So I definitely want to focus on doing more of that work. I'm a little bit, I do have other dreams as well too. This actually relates to the script that I'm writing, but I also applied for law school this year. I actually have to write my LSAT exam next week on Wednesday. And so I will be writing that to get into law school. I have my application done. I still need to write my personal statement, which is 750,000 words. I got to do that by the end of the month. So yeah, so I still got to work on those things. Yeah, so my goal is to basically, for streaming specifically, be more consistent, get 20 plus CCV. That's where I'm trying to get to. Because I average anywhere from like 10 to sometimes 15, 16. And then like, it's always around 10. Sometimes it'll go up and down, but I want to get over 20. If I can get over 20 this year, that'd be good. That's why it's like, I just want to do like baby steps, and nothing that's like, and knowing that like, even if that's my goal, I'm okay if we don't get it. You know what I mean? It's like, again, it's kind of like a sub goal of like, it'd be nice, but technically it doesn't help me for my dream. So yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I just trying to put things in perspective of what is my actual end game goal. And it's like, I want to be a showrunner. That's my dream.
Right on. I think I really believe in that you're gonna accomplish this goal. So yeah, that's that. That's all I gotta say about that. Aretha's reading the comments now. She's like,
yeah,
what's that
sorry.
talking about? Do we comment?
Yes.
Let's go. Let's go. Any questions
Yes.
from the viewers? Let's check it out. I have to open up the chat here.
That's an awesome question. I mean, that's an awesome goal, Bori. Yeah, I like I said, it's one of those things where I just need to be more consistent. I do co-working streams. I love co-working streams. They happen more during the day, so we can all get our work done, and doing body doubling, which is what helps you with getting work done. And maybe even just planning some like writing sessions, because like I said, I need to start working on my script. I did talk to like the one TV show writer that I did talk to was asking me like, have you taken any courses on how to write for TV? And I was like, no, I mean, I think I've read like, I have a few books that that I've started reading or that have been recommended to me that I read. about writing for TV, because when you write for documentaries, when you write for movies, when you write for shorts, all these things, there's a slight difference to how you write for them, right? Because there's certain things that have to happen. And so knowing that there's different ways that you have to write. So I've never written I have written a pilot TV show. Um, which was okay, but you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where I've definitely want to get more into writing, to just writing every day. Because yeah, you you get good at doing anything if you practice. You do it enough, you can get good at it.
Well, the chat, you have to read every day she's streaming. You say, "Did you write today?" Write that in the comment. 2026. Every time she's streaming, you say in the comments, "Did you write today?" Aretha, have you been writing? Did you write today?
Mhm,
Did you take 10 minutes and write?
mhm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of your TV show, I remember we were talking about not the podcast, sorry, the web series you did,
Mhm.
or the web show. And is there any interest or more into pursuing that particular show, or are you gonna just build off of that?
Okay, so this is horrible. This is what I talk about doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
I want to develop a game.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea for a game. I actually have 2 games, and one of them was turning that web series into a game, because it made me think of, um, story-based games where it's like choose your own adventure, and basically takes you on a story through these characters and what they're doing. So, I feel like that web series that I wrote, and I did film a pilot episode, for
Mm-hmm.
that, um, was actually turning it into a game. If 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 not, I might just make that a movie. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a way for me to take what I know now and rewrite that. That was the first
Mm-hmm.
script I ever wrote that was, like, story based. And
Yeah.
again, I had a mentor on that who is a comedy writer for TV and has, like, writing credits, and, they were the one who kinda, like, helped me with the script, and, like, you know, was like, move this thing here, and it'd flow better if we move this scene here, and like really helped me with that structure. Uh, but yeah, it really gave me that confidence of like, oh, okay, I'm on the right track of what I need to do. But also writing for comedy is like also it's a whole different thing. Because uh I've definitely shown that pilot to people that have either watched it and you could tell they don't get any of the jokes. But I've also screened it to, indigenous communities who laughed so hard. Like, I was like, "Oh, okay, you got the jokes," but then again, like, sometimes unless you're indigenous, you're not gonna get the joke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's one of those things where you learn so much about comedy writing, and how, again, it's very different. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to write it in the chat, as we're talking.
We're gonna take 3 questions from the audience. We need to have 3 questions before me and Aretha can go. Just kidding.
But yeah, no, I definitely I definitely want to do more writing. But yeah, the web series is still there. I'm just trying to decide what to do. I do want to still develop a game, which I have another idea for a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh that I wanna work on, that I actually have someone who wants to work on it with me and help, move it forward. We're just, you know again, all these things happened while the podcast was happening, so I'm like, "Okay, I wanna do this, but I'm gonna put this to the side for a second because I need to focus on this podcast." I was trying not to get over distracted. I also am helping someone else with their game and
Mm-hmm.
kinda being mentored through that process of how to develop a game, so I'm also, like, working part-time, um, with another person who's developing a game as well. So yeah, there's so many cool things that are happening. And I just got to remember this year, don't do too much.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing too.
Mhm,
I think every year, like I definitely have those goals. I think I write things down.
mhm,
Um, I tried one year to write like I got these in the dollar store, Dollarama, or not to
mhm.
wear sponsored, not that we're sponsored by Dollarama, although they should sponsor
Yeah.
us. Um,
Yeah.
they sell a lot of like $2 books. Well, maybe they're more than $2 now, but
Mhm,
just get those little hardcover books and just write down like my what's my goals for January, what's my goals for February.
mhm,
Bullet point books, is that what the other one is?
mhm,
You just write these down and you kind of go through each month review. I did that for a few months. A couple of years ago, I tried, but the hardest part I think is the first few months. Great, the next 3 months after that, I found like it started to dwindle, and I think that's pretty average. So it's really
mhm,
hard to stick with. It not hard. It's difficult. It's we set so we, when we set goals at the beginning of the year. What I'm going to try this year is go like, okay, what are the top three things I want to try to do? Like, what are 10 things I want to do this year? But what are top three? And then look at the top three and trying to focus on that.
mhm.
Um, and I think like reflecting on my 2025 because definitely never really. Yeah, and you probably feel this way. I'm assuming I shouldn't make any, assume that you feel this way at all. But I mean, I look at my year and go like, did I really accomplish everything? Did I really do everything I was supposed to? I don't think I did enough. But if I actually sit there
Mhm,
and take stock of everything, like what did I do? Oh, I directed TV. Oh, I released my feature film. You know, I went to TIFF. I finished a script, another script, my action script finally. Do you know what I mean? I accomplished these things, but for me, I'm like, I don't know where it comes from. And I think it's just a natural part of who we are. Sometimes we don't feel like we did enough. But I'm
mhm,
like, I did those pretty big things. Like I went to LA Skins Film Festival for my Green Hill premiere on Hollywood Boulevard, feature film Hollywood
mhm,
Boulevard TCL Theater. It was like, I look at that and go like, oh, is that really accomplishment though? Like I don't, but it is because how many just in terms of indigenous filmmakers, how many indigenous filmmakers do we know are making feature films right now, right?
mhm,
So, and how many are getting that opportunity to direct TV series? I had that opportunity, and I got to keep reminding myself that that was a great opportunity. 10 years ago to be where I am now, I would have been like, that's awesome. Now it's like leveling up for me this year is what I want to accomplish. What I mean by leveling up, that sounds like such a guru talk. Got to level
mhm.
up. Aretha, got to level up. Fortnite, Dead by Daylight, we got to level up. But
Yeah.
it's like, what's my next, the next step, next goal that I want to accomplish? And I think like, okay, what can I do for Green Hill? I'm kind of Green Hill right now. It's kind of like just make some DVDs, and I did it. I did it. It's put it out there. Uh,
Mhm,
um, the other thing is I am taking my already in the works quietly, right? I do these things so I don't even talk about the
mhm,
stuff, half the stuff that I do, but I mean, because I'm very quiet about it, very quiet about it. But I've taken this feature film hockey script that I wrote called "The Shots You Don't Take," and it was about my
mhm.
coming of age, based on stories about my coming of age story. If you ever seen my short film "The Spider," that's one of the stories that was in my movie. But
Okay.
I took that and I made that into my short film.
Yep.
My short film "The Spider" is available on my Instagram if anyone wants to check it out. But that's once I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, since I directed TV, yeah, I would want to do more of that. That was actually fun. I had a great experience. I know I
Mhm,
can do a lot more directing led, and the experience of that was like walking in and becoming as an indie filmmaker. You do everything. You have to.
mhm,
Um, that's just how I approach things. Not going
mhm,
into like an established TV series, and they were like, "Oh, you want to direct this episode?" And I was like, the one thing they wanted me to do was like, okay, is that it? Like, do you want me to do anything in this other? Do you want me to shoot it? Do you want me to edit? Do you want me to go pick up the actors? Do you want me to kind of set the,
mhm.
do the location? Like, it was just like all the stuff that I was normal. I'm kind of exaggerating that, but I mean,
Yeah.
as an indie filmmaker, you do that. You do those things already, right? You kind of go through that process, and I learned a lot going through that process. So when I got to I don't say my break essentially for my first TV episode, it was very I say liberating. It was relaxing. It was like all I got to do is look at the script and break it down and direct it, and then delegate those duties to everyone. It's like usually I'd be delegating to myself each duty, but it was like, oh, I got people. It was just kind of cool. So when I was making suggestions, there's for example, if you the series, my episode is out right now. It's on Crave. The TV series is called Acting Good. I highly recommend you
Mhm.
go watch it. That was season 4 that I directed in. So season 4 is out there right now. Um, there was a scene, for example. Uh, I was like, it's not in the script, but I feel like a good visual punch would happen if there's. I'm not no spoilers here, but it was like I'd like to see the garbage truck hit a garbage can, kind of like a visual comedy thing. That would be kind of bad. It wasn't written in the script like that. I said, "Am I able to do that?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can
Mhm.
do that." I was like, "Really cool." I was like, "So we need a stunt person. We need this." I was like, so it was also me adapting to it because usually I would have to ask for that, and I didn't know how. Like, I wasn't sure how that would be taken, but the crew and the team
Mhm.
were great. They were very encouraging and supportive, and I was like, "Oh, directing was never." Directing for me is always fun. It was always just what I do. It's
Yeah.
always what I've been inclined to do. It's always what I love to do, and I'm passionate about it. And like that part of storytelling is like I don't want to be like I'm saying this, but I don't want to say like egotistical. But you don't got to tell me how to direct. Like I'll figure this out and I'll do it because that's just what I do. That's you give me a script
Mhm.
and I'll interpret it how I interpret it. Now will I interpret it the way that other people? No, that's what makes different directors unique. Sorry, I'm going off at a tangent there if I talk too much about that. The point of all that was I had such a good experience directing television for that episode. Will it always be that way? No, I'm realistic. I know it's not always going to be that way,
Yeah.
but um, coming from coming from independent filmmaking where I have to do everything to having just to go into an episode and go like, "Oh, you want me to and you gotta pay me for that?"
Mhm.
It's like, that's freaking awesome. Like, that's what
Mhm.
I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
That's what it's called a
Mhm.
career. And it's gonna be a long-term career that I'm really working to establish that. And I've always been confident in my directing skills. It's never not that I've never been because I'm always kind of learning and teaching myself and watching episodes and that. Outside from uh, just us, talking about movies and saying I want to be a director. I am a director. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
now the goal is how can I be a consistent director because in the industry is a pretty tough thing already. But I feel like I'm just this is a decade into it, right? I'm just there. I just got there. I just got my foot in the door, so to speak. Um, and it's sometimes good to reflect on those accomplishments. So I look back on 2025 and I'm like, oh, essentially my second feature film, but it was my first feature film that I had a budget. Um, and my TV series. Finished my script. I mean, you were at the reading.
Yeah.
Pitched that script, kind of sent it to some producer. So hopefully things come up. Not gonna
Mhm.
win, but hopefully things will come from that. Um, and had a good chance to attend these really great festivals like the Etchemin Film Festival had the world. I'm probably saying it wrong. Sorry, Tristan. I'm saying it's in Saskatoon. Had a world
Etch
premiere. Yeah,
Etchemun. Yep.
Etchemin,
Etchemun.
Etchemin.
Mhm.
Okay, I said it right properly. Yeah, and I was very happy that I got in there because I realized, oh, my film is. This is kind of the audience where my film is. Filmmakers, lovers of film, lovers of filmmaking, right?
Mhm.
That's who it's for. And even same thing with the LA Skins Film Festival in LA. Like
Mhm.
to have it screen there was a really great accomplishment because looking back on when we were younger, like I know we didn't grow up together, but I mean what I'm saying is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our first interest in getting into filmmaking, we thinking about mine was like I'd love to make movies. I'd love to get into filmmaking. But where
Mhm.
I am is like, no, that's not Hollywood. Like, you're not in Hollywood in Canada. Forget about that. Get a job. So I did get a job for
Yeah.
years. I worked 2, 3 jobs at a time.
Mhm.
Um, Now, but pursuing film is so different. Um, it's something I know I can do. I'm confident and I love. So my goal for this year is like take the script that I have called Shots You Don't Take, break it down into like how can I break that down to a TV series essentially. So I took
Mhm.
that and I did kind of like I'm just sort of breaking it down now. Um, I have to take the script though and break that down, like legitimately break it down to like 6 to 10 episodes. And
Mhm.
also on that, I came up with a series 2 kind of a story and a season 3 story. So in season, I can just share it with you because I want to just talk about this really quick. So shots you don't take TV series would be, but I name all my characters Jack. Jack Burton is always kind of my inspiration for all my names. So all my characters I always name Jack, unless I name like and Green Hill was Matthew, but I named Matthew after my
Yeah.
nephew. Um, so Jack is my character's always named Jack. Even in my action film script, his name was Jack. I was like, I
Mhm.
was named Jack. It was just Jack Burton. That was my inspiration. Anyways, so it's kind of based on stories of me and my friends growing up trying to win our hockey championship. And in the story, it's like his friends, his team at the beginning of season one, episode one, breaks up. They break up because they lost the championship, and half the team's mad at Jack because he should have shot, but he didn't when he passed. Essentially, he passed the ball because it revolves around ball hockey. Um, and then he should have passed. He should have shot it, and maybe they would have won. But anyways, the team breaks up, and at the end of it, they come together in the big final where
Mhm.
they faces his team that who hates him, that his old teammates who hate him, who just have nothing against him, and essentially he shoots the ball at the end is what the whole point. But he goes through a breakup, and it's the relationships of his friends, relationships of him and his mother, and the relationships of his new girlfriend, his new love interest,
Yeah.
and his old friend. So who's his old friend who
Mhm.
left the team to start his own team becomes his arch nemesis, and then they meet at the finals. So that's kind of season one of how it is, but it's kind of like
Mhm.
an indigenous season, like all native characters, right? So it's all like a native. There's gonna be a feature film, but anyway, that's season one. But here's where I came up with the other ideas. Here, my season two and three ideas. I took
Okay.
from that, and I thought, what would season two be like? So I started thinking about it, and I thought, what would be really interesting is if his arch nemesis, his old good friend, starts coming around, and it's a story about him, his story, his arc to going back to
Mhm.
being a good person, and him, and at the end of season two, him, what did I forgot his name? The character's name, no, but I know Jack's easy to remember. So Jack and his old nemesis in season two, at the end of that, join up and become friends. They reconcile and they become friends, and his friend becomes a good guy again. So then season three comes around, and season three now Jack's kind of like at a point of like he's getting more serious with his relationship. Hockey's not a big thing, but his friends are all still playing. And now there's this new team in town, these two young guys who have no respect for any of the guys that came before. Have no respect for the teams. They're cocky, they're really
Mhm.
good, they're fast, and they're like really dominating this whole league that they're in. So then they entice Jack. So he teams up with his old friend and some of his old friends, and some new people come back, and they have to kind of
Mhm.
figure out how to, teach these young guys respect because they're obviously not, they're not going to beat them up, but they need to beat them in order for these guys to kind of humble them.
Mhm.
So, they get beat the first game really bad, and then they enlist Jack, and then they all start to come together in season three. And even they teach humbleness and respect to this team at the end of season three. And I feel that's kind of the goal. I mean that would be my TV series episode idea, and it's all
Yeah.
reflects on ball hockey and friendship and love interest. And I think what I said at the end of season three, where it's going to end, is Jack's girlfriend, who's the same girlfriend from the season one,
Mhm.
is she says, hey, she shows him a little thing, and she goes, hey, you're gonna be dad, and that's how the whole season and series ends. So
Mhm.
that's my story. So that was my
You
anyway,
know what that
long-winded
reminds
way.
me of? One of my, when I was younger and we would always go home to our home community, like our home communities, like on the summer or even in the winter time. And every single time we'd leave and come back, like one of my cousins, had another baby, had another baby,
Mhm.
had another baby. And our one cousin says, and when I say cousin, like I have a lot of cousins, okay? My mom comes from a family of 14 alone. So when I say cousins, I have a lot of cousins. Um, my my other cousin says, "Yep, well, us northern communities or even like, us indigenous communities, all we have nothing to do up here, so all we can do is play hockey and have babies."
Well, hey, there's
Uh,
there's a lot of great hockey players out there, guys and girls.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's it. She's like, "Yeah, that's all. We're so bored. That's all we can do. We have uh, that's all, the only entertaining things to do. Play hockey and have babies."
Well, there you go. And there's an audience for it already, right? So
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
make it ice hockey because we didn't play a lot of ice hockey, and ice hockey is expensive anyway. So ball hockey was
Mm.
a lot. Not just me. There was a lot of other teams that played that I people I knew and I played against. Um,
Is it gonna be like in a closed room, like, like a gym ball hockey, or are they going to be like street ball hockey?
It could be street ball hockey. There's a tournament that was every
Mhm.
year that I played last year. You might be see so you see my trophy right
Yeah.
there, right there. There's my trophy.
Oh, look at
So
you
that
and your
was
trophy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's one of my that was one of my trophies, Aretha.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just gonna. I don't hang any of my stuff up, but
Yeah.
so that was the last year I played, and that was that. Yeah, I kind of retired after that. I think that was the last time because
Mhm.
I took years like I kind of officially retired years ago playing, and then my buddies were asking me like, "Hey, come stop by hockey."
Mhm.
And it was all my old friends that we all grew up together, and I had a good time. I had fun. I had fun playing, so started coming out again. And I came out of retirement. We put our team back. We put a team back together, and we went back and we started playing. Um, so I got to leave with another. I'm not brave because it's not just me, right? I mean, it's not just
Yeah.
it's
It's a
more
team.
than one. It's more than one person that contributes. But I did win a championship again in a lower division. I mean, I say
Mhm.
lower because it's I don't know. Okay, anyway, I say lower division because I'm not like because I used to play. I played like top division, but I didn't.
Mhm.
Uh, that's one of the things. Anyway, Brooke. See, I'll start talking about it if I start thinking about it. The point I was trying to say about the trophy back there was
Yeah.
there was this tournament called the Breakaway Tournament, Breakaway 4-on-4 tournament. There was a
Mhm.
3-on-3 tournament. So it was an every year thing. So every summer there'd be the tournament. So every summer you're trying to win this. We have all these hundreds of teams enter, play outside, and everyone works towards the same thing. They all want to win a championship. So the last year I
Mhm.
played in our division was there you go. There's like 5, 6 divisions. I think we were third division, third division. I have to
Yeah.
look on the trophy again. But I wasn't playing like top division because I was telling him, I'm like, I'm not gonna play top. I said, okay, first of all, if you want to play top division, it's gonna take me a few months to get back into the mindset for one, and then for
Yeah.
what two is take it to physicality of it. I said, could I totally do it? Sure, but that's gonna be like about 3 to 4 hours a day, every day,
Mhm.
focusing on something. Work again. See, this is my hockey. I shouldn't get more into my hockey stuff. I'll get too much into my hockey talk, and I don't want it. The point is, there was a breakaway tournament 4-4. That trophy was the last trophy I won, and I said, I'm done. I think I'm good.
Mhm.
I don't need to play hockey anymore. I'm kind of just officially retired. I still have my old hockey stick downstairs. The hockey stick I had prior to that I retired with broke when I went back because I retired with my good stick, and then
Yeah.
I went back and played again. Then it broke. I was like, oh no, I got a new stick. So um, it was like, nope, time to move on. The stick you did lots of good years with it. And anyways, uh even then, like it
Yeah.
just so a lot of the story comes around hockey. So it's gonna revolve around a breakaway 4-on-3 type
Yeah.
tournament in the movie. So
So that's your TV show you're developing
yeah,
right
well,
now
it
that you're
was a
working
movie,
towards?
right? Yeah, and I
Yeah.
got this like I finished the script, like the original movie
Yeah.
script was all done a while back, and I just feel like I'm gonna go back and trying to redevelop episode ideas for that, and then I'm gonna
Mhm.
try and see what I can like. My film Hockey Dad, my short film Hockey Dad
Mhm.
was sort of one of the inspirations, but it wasn't the inspiration too
Mhm.
much. But Hockey Dad was a thing,
Yeah.
and also my film The Spider was one of the stories in there. So
Mhm.
I kind of have these ideas. I have the kind of visuals already.
Mhm.
Um, but now it's just a matter of I want to pitch, but I don't want to go like go to Banff and pitch. It's just I don't want to be trying it out on stage.
Well,
That's how I look at it. For me, I don't want to be trying it on a stage and be like, "Here's Roger in this film." It's like,
but
but I'd
and
have to
this
be chosen for one to even get there, and I don't think I would.
well, and this is the hard part too because and so, I mean, we both been to Banff. I talked
Mm,
about Banff before. There is a Indigenous Pitch Summit that's there, and it's specifically for Indigenous filmmakers, and so people can pitch their ideas in different categories. You've literally got, like, 5 minutes to, like, pitch your idea. You have a presentation. It's
yeah.
usually in front of a panel. The panel then can ask you clarifying questions or whatever, and then basically then you take a whole bunch of meetings and, like, hopefully, make
Mm,
something happen or whatever. And if I'm honest, I think it's great, and I think it's a great opportunity because you definitely get to meet a lot of people, but it's definitely not something that's guaranteed that's gonna be helpful.
mm,
'Cause I've known a few people who pitched their ideas there and,
mm,
obviously had something to pitch, but didn't really get where they needed to go, like, if
mm,
because you also tell them what your ask is, like, some
mm,
people went there with like, "Hey, we've already filmed this, we already did this, we wanna create, you know, uh, like a presentation or something like, or we need a distributor, like we've already filmed it, we just need a distributor, we need blah blah blah. And you know, anytime I've read into those people, I'm like, hey, so how's your film project doing? Like, how's it going? Like, are you going to like where's it at? Like, hey, did you talk to anyone? And
Mm.
they're like, yeah, we talked to people, but no one wanted, no one wanted to do what we needed it to do, you know? Or
Mm.
I mean, that's why I learned as well a lot about Netflix. Netflix,
Mhm.
it can be great,
Mhm.
but you
It's
know,
great if you get it, right? That's the type of thing.
it's great if you get it, but I also know people who have turned it down
Mhm.
because Netflix has this thing where, you know, they wanna own more than 50% of the IP because
Mm.
they wanna own everything, right? Because they
Yep.
wanna, if it's an original, they put it on their thing, they don't need to keep asking you for their permission because it's an original and they could put it on all their platforms. Um, but now they own more than 50% of the IP, and even though you have it, you know,
Mm.
you're basically signing away your right to this thing. So you'd have to, it's like a give and take. So you're either willing to let go of your intellectual property to Netflix for them to basically put their original stamp on it.
Yeah.
And some people are like, yeah, I don't care. I'll just make other movies. It's fine. But, you know, if you're like a first time filmmaker or this is your first project or whatever, it's like, you're not an established person. So you're like, I don't know. Is
Mhm.
this a good idea for me? Like maybe, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
this might be the only project I do and, you know, I'm basically making money for Netflix and I'm not going to receive any of the benefits of all my hard work
Mhm.
of my idea. Also, hi
Definitely.
Angie.
Definitely something. Hello, hi Angie. Oh, and Borealis. Yeah, Jack Burton. I have in my film Green Hell. I kind of make a reference to Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China. I say it so fast. It doesn't say like I said. Jack Burton. You know, old Jack Burton says a time like this. Says what the hell? Oh,
Hmm.
are we being censored now?
No, no, no. It's fine.
Um, but I think if you're gonna go pitch something to Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
definitely something that you're comfortable with, like you something
Hmm.
you really love and enjoy, you're passionate about, but something that you're okay with
Hmm.
parting ways with, because you never know where something like that could lead, and it could lead to something very
Yeah.
frugal. Hey, oh, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, and
Um,
it could that, and that's the thing, right? It's like you'd have to be really confident that knowing that um it might be very successful and more opportunities come from that,
yep.
but it could also not, you know? And so some people, especially people who have been more in the indie world, are like, I don't want to do that. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, and
so
that's where you have to like ask yourself, right? Because if you get it, for example, how I look, one ways I look at it is, if it's a film that I really love and care about, then maybe it's not something that I want to
mhm,
just give up and part ways with. But
mhm,
if it's a film, if it's like for my hockey series, for example, if Netflix came to me and said we love it, I'd probably be okay with parting ways. I mean, like can I make
mhm,
3 seasons of it and you'll pay me? Awesome, I'll love it. Let's do it. You know, I'd love to put that out there because
yeah,
then my content is out there, my name is out there, my show was out there, and it would
mhm,
reach it would reach a large audience. But now that being said, it doesn't mean that maybe someone like you, Aretha, would be comfortable with parting ways with your film, right? It's like
yeah,
so each individual creator has to kind of figure out what they're comfortable
yeah.
with parting ways with, right? But that's, I hate to say what I've learned is that that's just part of the business. Do you know what I mean? Because
It
it
is.
is.
It is.
Yeah, it is, and I feel like, and I've said this also, like us creating our own type studio type thing, and then having our own distribution, which could be
Mhm.
YouTube, right? But then people go like, "Oh, you're just gonna make movies and put them on YouTube?" Like but that's this is like, do you realize like that it's just a new? I feel like YouTube can be that new uh video store type thing where you discover new stuff, right? You
Mhm.
know, there's Tubi. I shouldn't talk about things I'm only somewhat familiar with, that I haven't actually legitimately used, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, but there's a lot of distribution platforms for us. Like even Green Hill, like I'm debating what do I do with that now? Like I'm done and it's out there, and do I, looking back on it, like the 100 times I've watched it and go like, maybe there's a couple lines I should have put back in there. Should I go back and re-edit that? You know, it's just, what am I gonna do with
Yeah.
it? But it's like, at the end of the day, I don't know. I think for Green Hill, for the movie, I'm just gonna create DVDs for all the participants and everyone who was involved, and
Yeah.
Blu-rays and DVDs, and give it to them, and then
Well,
I don't work on towards my action film. It's like I think I'll be okay with my action film getting out there.
Well, also, and I've told you more than once too that like I think it'd be cool if we like coordinated an online
Yeah.
screening of it, because you did do in-person screenings like local, and and they were quite well attended,
Mhm.
and then it was at LA Skins as well. I mean, I promoted it. I'm like, I don't know anyone in LA, but hey, if you're in LA, please go watch this film.
We had a
And
good.
it was good. It was good turnout, though, you said.
Yeah, the good thing about, okay, I'll tell everyone this, our
Mhm.
15 viewers who are watching right now. Um, like Green Hill is a romantic story that revolves like
Mhm,
just straightforward indigenous characters.
mhm,
Um, but the way I shot and made it, and the way I was trying to make it kind of a little bit artsy, it's not a regular, straightforward,
mhm.
easily digestible. I don't say it's not that it's difficult to like watchable film like that, but
Yeah.
there's definitely been a few people who come up to me afterwards like, I love that you used Winnipeg the way it was, or I love that you used just giving it,
Mhm,
letting it where I am. It doesn't matter. Um, or I love how you just used, we had native actors and characters, but it didn't revolve around our trauma. And I'm like, well, that's the way, because it's a love story. It's not, wasn't
mhm.
supposed to be that way. There's places, times and places, and there are filmmakers who are way more capable of telling those types of stories than I am. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not moved to, I mean, outside of my 60 scoop documentary with Bradford,
Mhm,
um, called Lost Moccasin, it's out there somewhere. Like I wasn't as like I've told my 60 scoop story. Do you know what I mean? Like I know you've
mhm.
also made a 60 scoop story, and those stories are really important. But I think those stories are more well told when it's someone we personally know. Do you know what I mean? Rather than us trying to seek out
Mhm.
people. If that's make, I knew Bradford, and Bradford shared a story, and I thought, hey, that's a really good
Yeah.
story, and and he wanted to tell a story, and it was important
Yeah.
for him and his kids and his family to share that story with them.
Mhm,
And I really like Lost Walks, and I really feel like it was I don't know, because I made the film. I don't want to be like, oh, it was a
mhm.
powerful film. It's like, but it was, it worked because Bradford was honest on camera telling his
Yeah.
story, right? So if you ever watch 60 Lost Moccasin, it is a 60 scoop story. Yeah, it's only a 12-minute long short
Yeah.
documentary. But I feel like he was it worked because I had a personal connection to him. I knew him, and he was more comfortable
Mhm,
telling me the story, where um the other 60 scoop stories I'm not as familiar with. So I feel like people who are close to them, storytellers, the filmmakers, should tell
mhm.
those stories because it's important, and those stories need to be told.
Yeah.
Um, Now, with all that being said, I think us as
Yeah.
filmmakers, I want to make my romantic drama and comedy with my romantic film, which I did. So there it is. Lost. I'm getting
Well,
all my titles mixed up. Green Hill,
and
romantic story. So.
and the thing about even your film too, like, you sent me the script. I was part of the script reading as well, and then I saw like early edits, and then I had my comments. Like, I think my biggest comment was, I, to be honest, I I I think you need to pull back how sad he is because I thought she died, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay."
that was like one of the first cuts,
I
right?
was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, yeah," and it was one of those things where I was just like, "Wow," like, it's like, and this is, I mean, I think this goes with anything, but one of the things I've learned from my first documentary to my second documentary, because I talked about heavy things in my documentaries. One of them was, you know, residential school, and the other one was 60 Scoop, was don't bring people so low that you can't bring them up again. And that's
Mhm,
why you have to have comedic humor or relief. You need to give people time to breathe or digest. And that's so
mhm,
important in filmmaking in general. But yeah, but one of the things, like I said, that I learned, my biggest takeaway was don't bring people so low that you can't bring them back up again. Because no matter how much you try to throw jokes in there, like they're too busy crying to even hear your jokes, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it's like, so we so I feel like, yeah, there's just, and even with any storytelling, like, it's just a matter of, like, bringing that across. But what I was trying to say originally in the beginning was, um, I'm so used to John Hughes,
Yeah,
uh, like,
his style.
romance stories, you know what I mean? Like, his style.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so, like, because that's what we get. And then people love John Hughes style, so then they recopy that style, and then, or then, like, or then we have, like, the Twilight version, of of people trying to create, which then also created, 50 Shades of Grey, but basically these relationships of like, um, I won't rest until you're mine kind of thing. Or even like
Yeah,
Dracula.
yeah,
Dracula technically
yeah.
was like that too. You know what I mean? It's like this love that like unless you're, and I think now as we're developing as a society, we realize that's pretty toxic.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I won't rest. You need to be mine and I can't live without you. And like that's
What's
really unhealthy.
what's
Why are
toxic about
you
that? I don't understand. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you if you want to be with someone, be with them.
Yeah.
That is a choice. If they want to be with you, they're making a choice. There shouldn't be any reason that you feel stuck or you're just there to be there.
Yeah.
And these toxic love personas that we've been taught our whole life, is also like the concept of like, oh, it's like back in the day when our parents, like stayed together forever because that was intended and divorce was frowned upon, like
Yeah.
so those things. So I feel like, and this is where and I've said this to you many times, I feel like your film, um, uh, I think it's a little ahead of its time because once we started talking about like what your motivation was for that film, and I was like, oh, this person's you. And then I understood it more because I mean
What? Just
we
kidding.
I mean like but like your way
It
that
was
you look at
inspired. It
things.
was inspired by, yeah.
Yeah, it was inspired by, but it also comes from like the way you look at things and how you think about relationships, right?
Mhm.
Like like you're a very private person and I would I always like tell your business all the time, but I'm like, I mean, unless people knew you, like first time I found out that you even had a partner was when you posted that you got married. And I was like, "Huh? I didn't even
We were
know."
always married. I just can't make
But
it official.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you were together for a very long time. You just like officially did the legal thing, right? So
Yeah.
he was like, but I didn't even know that because you also talked about growing up in the hockey world that you kept your lives different. You didn't talk about your personal life. You kept your hockey life. You talked with your friends a certain way. You didn't introduce, you didn't bring everyone together. You kept everyone compartmentalized, I guess, a little bit.
Mhm.
And so you are a very private person, but even the way you are and approach things, like some people think you're not serious. I think you're serious. I think we like to joke because we just grew up joking around, but we
Mhm.
also know when to be serious and we don't joke with everybody. We joke with
Mhm.
people that we're like, it's cool. We could joke with each other. We're friends. Um, but you can be very serious. And I feel like when I looked at this person and the way they were approaching things,
Mhm.
it was like, "Oh, I could see you in it," but it also was a very different way of looking at relationships because I think when we have some films now, like I said, like even John Hughes, it's always from the woman's perspective. And I
Mhm.
feel like Green Hill is a love story through the male perspective
Mhm.
of how relationships are, how you feel about people, letting go of people, losing people, dating people, deciding whether to move on, or if you can move, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel like the story is a very male-centered perspective, which I
Mhm.
don't think we always get. I think we get a very like female perspective.
Mhm.
Um, and it's always like, hey, this is like this is how you want to be wanted, and you want someone to choose you.
Mhm.
Whereas it's from like from a male perspective is like, oh, I just yes, I want those things too, but it's just very I
Yeah.
wanna say more logical, like more in their head. More in their head,
It's like
whereas, you
I'm
know?
very illogical in everything I'm expecting.
But you're trying to, like, outthink it in a way to understand why things are happening the way they're doing, and it's just from a different perspective, just how you approach the world,
Well,
and so I feel like someone's gonna see that and be like, this person gets what I've been trying what I've been trying to say and trying to do because sometimes it's hard to understand why things aren't working out the way they are because especially if we look at TV and films, it's kind of told us like, hey, this is how life should be. and it's not always that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's different, and it's a different way of looking at it and approaching the subject, and I think that's where it's a little bit ahead of its time because it's not John Hughes. It's not a
Yeah.
John Hughes story.
Yeah, and the way of my stylistic of it was very. I was trying to put a bit slow cinema in there and a bit more
Mhm.
mumblecore type stuff and French New Wave esque. I say those things right now, and then people
Yeah.
go in thinking like all the movies we've kind of grew up watching.
Yeah.
The other thing about it was let's go Winnipeg. That's Winnipeg, British Columbia, the suburb of Vancouver. Just for those who don't know.
What a
um,
liar.
but it was like I think also is like we've seen those stories. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I feel like I know my film probably was there's two. I was telling you this
Mhm.
the other time we were talking about it was one it's either not people are ready for that because my film does talk about the accountability. And don't get me wrong, like I've
Yeah.
had some a lot of what I've learned has come from bad relationships and
Mhm.
um we all have had those bad relationships, right? Um,
Mhm.
good or bad, whether healthy or not. And I've definitely have grown from any kind of unhealthy relationship I've had. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, people, even when I was growing up, it was like I don't want to say mentors, but guys older than me telling me how to approach girls. So that keeps getting passed on. So I'm sure there's some girl out there who probably thought I was a creep or something, a jerk or something. What did I do? I was younger. Okay, I was a lot younger, but I was thinking
Yeah.
like, oh, that's how you approach girls. That's how you talk to them. That's how you treat them.
Mhm.
It's like as you grow, and this is just a personal thing. I've always tried to educate myself and grow from certain things that I feel like you get to a point where a guy or girl, if you're having a bad relationship, you have to have some kind of accountability towards that. And a lot of us are just
Mhm.
one. A lot of times I've seen, and I'm not for everyone, but it's
Mhm.
like, oh, the other person did me wrong. Oh, the other person screwed up. Um, I had a relationship when I was younger, not to get all
Mhm.
personal,
Mhm.
but this is one of the things I've learned from
Mhm.
was I got cheated on, right? So it was
Mhm.
like I'm not gonna get too much into it, but
Mhm.
it was a bad experience. It made me become a bad person. I don't wanna say bad person. It just made me angry. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and say things that I probably wouldn't have normally
Mhm.
said. But it hurt. Ultimately, it hurt. It hurt me to know that. But then I
Mhm.
had to take a step back and go like, what I was rational thinking, like even these days when I think about it, why was I
Mhm.
even in that relationship? Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I shouldn't even been with that person. That and
Mhm.
I used to do a lot of blame for them, but I'm like, no, we were all young, didn't know any
Mhm.
better. That person, like that girl, didn't know any better. She just grew. She knew how to have that. That's how she knew how to have a relationship, and she was young. So,
Mhm.
what did I know? What did she know? What did my old friend know? We
Mhm.
didn't know nothing. We knew what we were told, and um, I did a lot of growing from that. Um, and I really tried hard to like, how do you surround yourself with good people? How do you surround yourself? How do you make good decisions? Um, and I
Mhm.
started looking at things like, oh, you want to know where you are in your life? Look at who your friends are. That those type of discussions are
Yeah.
like, can you be accountable? Like, why? Yeah, okay. So in my film, like the girl broke up with him, but it was like
Mhm.
you have to let go. Like, why did that happen? Obviously, the ulterior motives between all of them was my character. There was something he was lacking, and I think I had in earlier drafts what he was lacking. Like
Mhm.
she wasn't 100% bad, but he wasn't the guy for her,
Yeah.
and he was stuck on that because he was in love and he was going to propose to her. Like, this is stuff
Yeah.
that was in earlier drafts. That wasn't in the when people. I'm going to say this now,
Yeah.
but people watch the film, they'll be like, "Hey, that wasn't in there. It
Yeah.
was in there, but it was the intention was all in there." Um, and so she kind of made her decision to kind of, whatever she did, she broke his heart, and he was
Mhm.
kind of depressed. And I said, I never really see that. Because when I got my heart broken, I was really depressed and I was sad, and I withdrew from everyone, and I just
Mhm.
went through the motions. And none of my friends really were checking up on me right away. They were until later. They're like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you all right?" And they're like, "No, not really, man." Like,
Mhm.
but as a guy, it's like as a young guy, it's like, yeah, fuck, I'm fucking fine, whatever, I'm good,
Yeah.
like, f that biatch, like it just,
Yeah.
but that's how guys talk. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was pretty terrible. Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, I come
Yeah.
from that type of thoughts. A lot of my friends too, and we all probably didn't have, and it was both. It didn't have healthy relationships. I shouldn't say anything for
Mhm.
them. I mean, I'm not speaking for them. I didn't have healthy relationships. I probably wasn't really in a good place, and the
Mhm.
girls I was probably pursuing were not good for me. Do you know what I mean? Like I liked them, they're
Mhm.
pretty, but it was like they probably weren't good for me.
Mhm.
And essentially, learned that even I was a nice guy. You know,
Mhm.
so you change, you become a nice person, and that's just part of growth. And I think when I was trying to put things like that into Green Hill, but it was ultimately accountability of our
Mhm.
relationships, accountability of like, oh, you did this thing to me. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, it's your fault. Yes, but then it's like, wait a minute, why did you
Mhm.
do that? Why am I even here? What choices did I make to be in the situation that I was in?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was the one thing I was trying to get across was, yeah, you're hurt, but take responsibility for that. You're not going to be hurt. What did you
Mhm.
learn from this? But that's hard to understand when your heart's broken or you're really hurt or the other person changes
Yeah.
something and messes things up, and it's like, holy crap, like that. I don't. Anyway, but that's how I try to approach Green Hill.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and I think that was something that I we don't see because it's like, oh, the love story at the end, like I won't spoil kind of what happens in the film, but you know, he was gonna. There's this one girl he connects with again, right? But you'll see what
Mhm.
happens at the end of the story. But yeah, there's these things that it was always just accountability of
Mhm.
how do you what's a healthy relationship and what's how do you have a healthy relationship? Well, you communicate,
Mhm.
you talk, you take accountability. You know, sometimes you're both jerks. Sometimes one person's a jerk. You know,
Mhm.
yeah. Can you talk about it? Can you discuss it? Can you grow from that? Can you learn from it? I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. Maybe you want to be comfortable with being miserable. I don't know. Like that's just. But if you want to be
Yeah.
comfortable with being miserable, don't be mad if you're miserable. You know, take accountability and responsibility from where you
Yep.
are. Hold yourself accountable. Pick up your pain. And what is that? Is that a Buddhism thing I heard? Pick up your pain, carry it, or life is suffering, that type of thing, right? But if you
Yeah.
understand that kind of philosophy, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, like I'm just all you can do really is just move forward and
Yeah.
become a better person, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I went off on a tangent there, but I was like,
Well,
not trying to give away a lot of my stuff, but I mean, my relationships
well,
of what you just, but
well,
that's kind of the intention of Green Hill was
mhm.
about. So
Yeah.
people might look at it and go like, "Oh, it's kind of boring. It wasn't John Hughes." You know
Well,
what I mean? So,
that's
as and
the
even
home.
as a native film, right? I mean, how many
Oh
native
yeah.
films do we see like that, right?
Yeah. And even in the native film too, like there's an example of a healthy, older couple
Yeah.
that understands that like that ultimately you're your own person, right? And I feel like I mean, I feel like this applies to anything, like even the accountability part, right, too. That's what I was saying, like even about like the streaming and stuff like that as well is something I learned in therapy a long time ago, which
Mhm,
is at the end of the day, the only person I'm
mhm,
accountable for is myself.
mhm,
I can't control what any other does or how they show up or what is happening. I can only control how I react to the situation, what I do with that information, and how I move forward. That's all I have control over. Um, you know, and so it's like trying not to like take on other people's things of just knowing that like, okay, this is how I move forward. And I feel like with anything, even in our careers and everything we're doing, it's so important to do that as well. Because again, it's like, we both made films that have either done well or maybe haven't done well, or like our shorts or things like that. Like we're always making projects and content all the time. And whether or not it does what we want it to do or not what we want to do, it's like, okay, well,
mhm.
you know, again, maybe it's just something that someone hasn't watched yet or has seen yet or saw the value in yet, or it just hasn't reached the audience that it needs to reach yet,
Mhm.
and it's like, but I'm not going to wait for that to happen. I'm just going to create more content
Yeah, yeah.
and hopefully in the process learn from everything I've made, because I have done workshops and taken some things about like how to be a filmmaker, sure, and had great mentors who shared with me about being a filmmaker, being a content creator, uh, and the the biggest takeaways and the things that I've learned has from been doing it, you know doing making the film, streaming online, writing the scripts, applying for the grants, like whether I get them or not, or whether they, become actual completed projects or not, everything I take from that is a learning experience of like, okay, has this been successful? Has this not been successful? If it's not successful, what can I learn from it to bring on to the next project? And not just being
Mm.
caught in the things that aren't working, but just saying like, why isn't it not working? What can I change and do differently next time? What did I learn from that? How can I now apply that to my next project?
Yep. Do you? Well, first of all,
Mhm.
I think we got all serious for a second. The Green Hill is coming soon. No, it may or may not come out. What I'm going to try to do with Green Hill is, like I said, I'm going to make DVDs next. I just have to kind of, like you, kind of just make sure everything's finalized and I'm done
Mhm.
with it and put it behind me. Um, I always said even on set we're making a Winnipeg cult classic film. So
Mhm.
that's the one thing we're making a cult classic ninjas film. That yeah,
Yep.
that it won't be appreciated till years later. But yeah, I
Our
mean,
initial conversation was, how do we make our clerks?
yeah, that's the one thing. So that's next. That's next in the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I am working on. So one of the things I'm working on this year, I applied for a grant for it, but I've never been never been really
Yeah.
great. It's kind of funny. The smaller grants I'm not successful with, but the larger grants I've seen to be more successful with. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Weren't you, NSI's one to watch or what
No,
was
I was
what
never I
were you
was
guys?
never on any of those lists. I was all
No.
like,
No.
NSIs, stay away from him. Just
No,
kidding.
no. No, but you got something. You were was it Talent to Watch? What was it?
Oh, that was
You
the
were part.
talent to watch. Yeah, Telephone's talent
Yeah.
to watch is what I got. So the
Yeah,
Green Hill
Telefilm
tells,
Talent to Watch.
yeah,
That was a good thing. Yeah.
Green. No, that was good. But then it's kind of funny. I'd apply for smaller grants. I'd never get them. I'm like, what?
Mhm.
The Spider, which is on my Instagram. If
Mhm.
anyone wants to watch, check it. Koji B Films on Instagram. It's on there. The
Yeah.
short film. Um, what I applied for 7 or 8 grant applications, and I even sat down with grant writers and said, "What am I doing wrong? Like, what is it?" And they looked at my thing like, "No, you're doing it. It's just all in the jury." So they look at it. So I'd go do that, and then denied. So finally, one time I was like, "Screw it! What do I got in my pocket? My
Mhm.
couch? I had like $300. I said, "Screw it! I'm gonna make this." And I shot it. Essentially, I shot the whole thing in my place, in my
Mhm.
house. So um, like made a comic book shop in my house, and then made a flower shop in my house. But it was all there, and it was like that. But that
Mhm.
was one of the stories I was taken from my film, The Shots You Don't Take. And I cast and had a good
Mhm.
cast, and yeah, it was great. It was just I had fun. It was just I had fun making it, and um, people were really surprised that I shot it. Even my actors was telling me, "It's like, yeah, when they telling me you're gonna shoot in your house," I was like, "Well, I don't know, I don't see it." But then they saw it. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, okay, but that's being an indie filmmaker. You just make it happen.
Mhm.
Um, what was I trying to say about that? Like that film, I never got any grants for, and I was always like,
Mhm.
"Why? What the hell was why? What was wrong with it? Why am I
Mhm.
not? Like what am I doing wrong?" But when you do 7 or 8 times
Mhm.
and you rejected, it's like, well, okay, I'll just make it myself, and I did, and I'm happy I did because I
Mhm.
met some really great people through it. Um, so that's the thing. So this year I applied for another grant to make a feature. It's called Nietzsche's, and it's a story I've had for a while because again, it was based on me and my cousin growing up, but it kind of
Yeah.
revolves around video games and a night out in the town. So I don't want to say that's my clerks, but I'm trying to make it my clerks. But if I don't get the grant, I want to make the script and maybe I'll raise I don't know. I'll say $5,000. Like that's a lot, even.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do a gig and put it towards that, but I do want to make that because I want that to be my native clerks,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah, but 2 friends they work in a pawn shop, so
Mm.
yeah, and they play video games. And then in the story, his cousin is moving for a job in Calgary, and then but he finds out
Wow.
over the course of the weekend, he finds out he's not moving for a job, he's moving for a girl, and they have this argument about it. Um,
I
but
was
yeah,
gonna say, I was like,
that
wow, you really are taking from personal experience.
well,
Actually, I mean, no, no.
it's inspired by that. I was telling Jay about that because it was really inspired by a lot of stuff we did. Did you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he's listening there because I messaged him, but
Oh,
I
I don't
always
know.
joke. I always joke about. Oh, are you there?
No, yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I thought someone was talking to you.
Oh, no, 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 no.
I was like, are you getting another call?
No, no, I was gonna go see if, your cousin's here.
Oh, that's what. No, no. I was gonna say
Oh,
he's. I don't know if we told you. Maybe we joked about it, but he's a video game champion. So
You've never told me that. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
he is. Well, he could tell you. I don't want to tell you the story, but
For what? Oh, sorry.
he won. He's a video game champion. He won locally here, and I always joke because we always
Oh,
joke about games and well, and I get mad
yeah,
about Dead by Daylight and
yeah.
I joke about it like in Fortnite. I'm like, you'd never think that he was a video game champion when you watch it. And, um, I joke about it with that, but he's one. So obviously, this I'm trying to make a story that's really inspired by kind of our stories growing up because we did a lot of stupid
Mhm,
stuff when we were younger. But yeah, it was like that. So, but yeah, I mean, if you
mhm.
for those who are looking about being filmmaker, like even the spider was inspired by something. I used to walk downtown and wow, it's just
Well,
inspired
like
by someone
any
there.
well, any writer, they tell
Yeah.
you to write what you know, right? And
Yeah.
so
So there you go. So you just if you want to make a short film or you're just in
yeah,
filmmaking,
yeah,
you have your iPhone, you have your like you don't need
yeah,
make it you don't need like I said, I shot the spider. If you watch the
yeah.
spider on my Instagram, hey, there's a Coiled Viper 3000 this year. What's up, Coiled Viper? Um,
3,000.
I was calling
Yeah,
good
yeah.
to see you. That just you taking with what you got and
Mhm.
like I didn't have a flower shop. I wanted to have a flower shop. I wanted to go to a flower shop, but I was like, I can't afford the insurance and I can't afford the renting their place. And it's like, I got $300.
You know what I've learned as well about that? I
You
did
be
a lot of
creative. Yep.
so I actually uh was a program director for a indigenous youth film um like course basically.
Yep.
And the kids would make films and then I would have to go through their scripts going like, okay, we need this, this, and this, we need this location, we need this. And one of them was they were supposed to be having this like this thing like in a restaurant.
Mhm.
And and you would be surprised how many places will let you film in there, especially if you let them know it's a no budget film and
Mhm.
all they give you is a shout out and a thank you in the credits.
Yep.
Um yeah, so we ended up finding this like faux workshop restaurant and I basically went in there because I had this like and I was going again, half the time you're just as an indie filmmaker, I have to find these locations myself. I don't have someone else telling me. So half the time when I'm looking around, I'm like, I remember this place for later because this looks cool. And so I just messaged them and said, "Hey, like, can we film this in here?" And yeah, they let us. And all we had to do is basically thank them in the credits. We didn't have to pay for anything. We filmed on the inside and the outside. Like it was really cool. And because we filmed there, what we ended up doing is we just bought everyone lunch. We were there after we were done.
Mhm.
We were done and we all had pho for or pho for lunch. We ate at the restaurant and like I said, we ended up thanking them in the credits. And yeah, it was really great. And I think uh growing up, my mom always taught me this thing. She would always say to me, and it never hurts to ask, which is funny because I grew up with that motto, but as I grew older, some people apparently it really does hurt because they're
Mhm.
like really upset. How dare you even ask that question? Or how dare you even ask me? It's like, well, yeah, just could have said no. Like it's fine. Like, um but yeah, so I mean, that's why like half the time when I would film at these locations, I would just, ask and make it work or not make
Yeah.
it work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So for those filmmakers aspiring in the audience, you
Mhm.
just write. I mean, you take Google Docs or whatever,
Mhm.
you take your notepad wherever you find. Take an actual notepad, a piece of paper, and
Mhm.
start jotting down your ideas. And then from there, there's free
Mhm.
programs you can use to create scripts, which I've used for years. And then there's inexpensive programs you can purchase
Yeah.
when you're at that point. And then yeah,
Well, what
I just
if
feel like we. Oh no, I was gonna say I just feel like, especially indigenous filmmaking, I think we're in it, and I
Mhm.
think part of it is just telling our stories more.
Mhm.
And I say that in a positive way, not in the way our stories have been told before. We're not by indigenous filmmakers, which is just a sign
Mhm.
of the times, right? I'm not angry
Yeah.
about it. I mean, we got to see some great films with some great actors came out of there. Um,
And
but
you can't
now,
really change the past. You can only say like, "Okay, now we're we're building, we're building our indigenous Hollywood,
Yep.
as
Yeah. Yeah.
Georgina called it,
Yeah.
like it's like, okay, that's how it was then. Cool. It's just is what it is. But moving forward, okay, now we have these people who could be doing these things. We have these people in these roles who could be doing these things. You know, moving forward, let's see more people. Like let's not like nothing 100% is ever going to happen.
Mhm.
But you know what I mean? But like just giving people the space and the platform to do that, I think just goes a long way too.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like there's two different approaches that I think
Mhm,
a lot of us are like this. There's one approach is you apply for funding, you get it, and
mhm,
get more funding to get more projects made and to make a living off of it. Totally understandable. The other way is the independent way. Get a bunch of a lot of come together with storytellers you get along with and filmmakers you get along with and help each other um, grow and get your stuff made and then push it out there for each other. I think that's one way of two ways of doing it, and that
mhm,
way we just keep networking. Like
mhm,
I went to had an opportunity to go to Cannes. I got a shout out
mhm,
to Doreen because that was through her program. That was a
mhm.
lot to do, and I had a great time. Like there's such a world of storytelling out there, and it wasn't until I went to Cannes that I was like, oh crap, like this is who I am. This is what I do. I'm a
Yeah.
filmmaker and I'm a director, I'm a storyteller. This is what I am, what I do. Um, there's a world out there outside of Hollywood, and that's not to knock
Mhm,
Hollywood because we all grew up with that.
mhm,
But there's opportunities we can make for ourselves. It's just a matter of putting the work and time and effort in, and that's tough. That's the tough part, right? Because that's where you start to go.
mhm.
That's where you start to realize, oh, I'd rather get paid for this than do this on my own. But for me
Yep.
personally, I I probably paid for my own stuff to get done and get made than more than I've gotten paid for anything. And totally
Yep.
cool because I love it. That's just how I am. And I'm not saying that those people want to get paid. I love it. They want to you need to make a living off of it, right? So
Mhm.
I still need to make a living off of it, but I try my hard to be frugal about everything I do, despite everyone thinking I'm not. I go for walks at the park over here, and I make coffee at home. Right? It's not, it's not the little things. So, yeah, I'm not that. People would think like, oh, yeah, I was going on these trips, but it's like I kind of planned for it. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like I just. I act like I just jump up and go do it, but it's like no, I actually planned
Mhm.
but I budgeted things for myself to go. Like
Yep.
I'd love to go back to Cannes this year. So
Yep.
right now I'm thinking, what? Okay, if I go, how much time can I go?
Yep.
How much do I need to spend? What do I need to spend? I've been there a couple times already, so it's like I know kind of where the hotels are. I know where to stay. Essentially, what funding can I apply for pre going to that? There's a couple. I'm identifying a couple things I could do already. So yeah, it's possible, right? Um,
Mhm.
how much can I save up? What can I sell? How many my film cameras do I need that I can just sell and get rid of? Like it's just
Yep.
I don't know. I put that out there. It's just I don't know where I was going with that. Pursue you set your goals this year,
Yep.
and if you especially want to make films or be a streamer, I think it's just a matter of putting the time and effort into it each day and every Sunday or Saturday. Look at what you've done for the week and do that. It's a tough thing. But yeah, I think even I don't know, we started off talking about the podcast, but that was the podcast. We sat and talked about
Yeah.
for a couple of days prior to even us having the first, and then we start scheduling it, right? We made a plan for it
Yeah.
and then we set about the plan. So that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? People that we you were very successful in finishing your first season one of Native Origin Stories, and you did
Mhm.
that because we sat down and we mapped things out for with a plan.
Yeah.
Is that
Uh,
accurate? Is that accurate?
yeah, I would say so. And well, I mean, you've had to listen to every episode unedited
Mhm.
because you're the one edited them. Um, is there a guest who was on the podcast who stands out for you and who you got the most like?
Oh, well, they all did. I really like, not to say that anyone else didn't stand up for me because you're asking me to be like, which
Pick your
one,
favorite,
who's
and
your
I'm gonna
favorite,
tell the rest of you weren't theirs.
and everyone else you didn't like. I really enjoyed Shanna's episode because I think video gaming was something that I've always I was always a gamer years ago, and
Mhm.
I think I told you that story. I was
Yeah.
never, now it's like now it's cool to be a gamer. Back when I was there, it wasn't cool, But I was like, but I love video games, so I'm sure I wasn't the
Yeah.
only one. So I enjoyed Shanna's interview. Plus, she was the first episode
Yeah.
your interview you had, and I think having someone like her as a guest really made it easy for you to kind of
Yeah. It was it
adapt to
was
it.
it was an easy conversation because yeah, we had
And
talked before, but also we both were streamers and we
mhm,
like generally a lot of the same things. And so I was like, oh, yeah, it
yeah,
was an easy conversation.
so she was fun. Like, and don't get me wrong, all the guests were great. Like,
Mhm.
when we sat down and we still talked to Harley for like an hour afterwards because he was interested in hearing about us. He was like, because he was interested in hearing about filmmaking. That was cool.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say, Georgina has always been my favorite. She's always been like easygoing. I consider her a mentor, and
Mhm.
she's always been there to answer questions. And I've gotten to know Crystal and Cody. I've directed actually for Lightning Cloud. I directed a music video called
Mhm.
Zombie Love. It's on YouTube through their
Mhm.
Lightning Cloud website. I directed that for them. And Cody, like, I've known Cody for years, and to see acting, Hey Victor, come out, it
Mhm.
was like awesome, like good for him, like accomplishing that. I remember him talking about pitching that years ago.
Yeah.
But I got to know Cody over the years too, so he was also, and I think Cody's a really great talent. Him and Crystal are very talented actors and
Mhm.
uh, and filmmakers. And
Yeah.
Georgina's been a huge mentor because she's known a lot of the top indigenous talents in Hollywood and outside
Mhm.
Hollywood. And the stories she has, her experiences are very invaluable in how we
Mhm.
can go forward and create our own kind of, I don't say indigenous Hollywood, but our indigenous studio type,
Yeah.
our films, right? And I always feel like she's been open and honest. And I feel like, she's, I consider her one of our highly respected indigenous elders. I don't want to call her an elder. I don't know how she feels about being an elder, but yeah, she's one of those. So she was one of my favorite episodes because I always enjoy hearing her, listen to her talk about her story. So that's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. So that was it. I mean, everyone else is great. I got great stuff from them, and I really hope. I thought Richard was a great storyteller because you didn't have to ask him too many questions, and he just had these stories, and I was like, yeah, I can tell this guy. Right?
Oh.
I was about to go like, Richard, you should write books. I'm like, oh wait, you do. Yeah,
It's funny.
he was a good storyteller.
I've definitely met Richard a few times. It's funny because it's like it's always been in like different settings, and I knew he was going to be really great. I also knew I was probably going to only get a few questions in because yeah, he tends to everything he talks about
Mm,
turns into a story or an anecdote or something where he brings into something. And he's always just kind of been like that, but he's a storyteller,
mm,
so I knew that was going to happen. And, I mean, not to say everyone else, but like Richard also was like the fastest response when I
yeah,
asked if he wanted to
yeah.
be on the podcast. His response was so fast. Like I don't know, I must have caught him at his computer or something because he like immediately emailed me back, was like, "Yes, tell me when. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
good. Yeah, I'll be there." And it was like, "Cool."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was so fast. I was like, "Wow, you must have been like sitting at your computer and one of those emails came," because it was literally within like seconds, I swear, that I got the response back.
You
But
had your whole guest list was really great this season.
mhm,
And yeah, I think when you do season two, it's just a matter of if you want to go that road of like just identifying the top three, I just say arbitrary top three hits and
mhm.
focusing on that to grow your podcast. But it's also like you still want to keep a mix. There's nothing wrong with, you have to make that decision and then go
Yeah.
forward. And then hopefully when, everything comes together again in season two for this year, like I don't think if you're going to do season two, it wouldn't come up until again same time next year, right? So roughly, if you went through the same process, is that
Yeah, I
accurate
mean,
or?
well, like I said, I'm trying to think about whether or not I stick with the format that I had, which was, I'm using StreamYard to stream right now. So if anyone's redeemed any of my redeems or my sounds, you've noticed they haven't gone off because I'm in StreamYard right now. Um, and I everything is recorded here, and it's really cool because it actually records 3 videos. It records what you see now on the screen, and then it records mine separately, and then it records my guests separately, like, individually, and then when it's done, it will actually, export it into 3 videos. So my video, his video, and then this. And then we all have sound in there. So yeah, it's a really, really cool thing. But this is the first time I've ever gone live here. So I don't know how that works. I was able to go live on 3 platforms. You can actually do multi-stream on here. So
Cool.
it's pushing it to YouTube. I'm on my Twitch channel, Simply Aretha Twitch channel. I'm also on my business page as well, which is Ready Up Productions. So I'm on 3 channels. I'm on 2 Twitch channels at the same time right now. So yeah, so it's actually collectively taking all those views, and that's where the 16 comes from, because it's actually taking all the views from all of the channels. Um, but yeah, it's just it's very interesting. I've never done this before. I wanted to try it. I'm so used to doing streaming in a certain way that, like I have a starting soon screen, I have this. I didn't know how to do that on here. So I don't know. Like I don't know if it's just easier to then do it this way. Plus StreamYard, I did pay for this for a year. Uh so I know I've used other programs. One of them I was introduced to from Angie actually which is Video Ninja, um, that you can create like little like different scenes or whatever for people, which is kind of similar to what this kind of does as well. But the thing is, you don't actually have to have an account on here. I can send you a link as long as, and it just uses your browser. So you don't have to have an account on here at all for you to join this. I think Video Ninja might be similar. I would just have to build it out on OBS. So my plan was, I'm trying to decide whether I stick to this format where I just record it, upload them, and upload the videos, or season 2 I do live, which is what I originally, like we said in the beginning, that's originally what I was going to do. I was going to do them live, and do it that way. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like because I don't have any of the other things kind of going off,
Mhm.
it is a lot easier. I do usually try to recognize people in the chat. But when we're talking, it's like, I also don't want to be too distracted as well and reading the chat as well. So but yeah, I don't know. I'll see. I feel like for me, I definitely want to talk to the people who've watched, talk to the people who listen, and kind of get their thoughts on like how they would like season 2 to go, or maybe even suggest people that maybe they think I should reach out to as well, just kind of so I can put them on the list. One of the things that I actually had on the list, and me and Roger talked about this, is there was like 20 people on the list. Okay, a good 3 or 4 of them, was it 3 or 4, were like, dream big,
Mhm. Yep.
knowing maybe one day we'll ask. But if you had your like dream list, who would the top people be? And not people like because Georgina was a dream of mine too. Like again, like Roger,
Mhm.
Georgina has been my first mentor in film. Always been willing to help and support me in any way. But I also know Georgina. Like, it sounds very funny, but we know where she lives. We have her number. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not hard for me to call her or text her or email her and say, hey, can you come on podcast? I knew she would say yes.
Mhm.
There was no doubt in my mind that she would say, like, that if she would say yes or no. Like, I knew she would say yes. I think it was just more about the timing, her
Mhm.
timing, and whether or not she was currently working on a film, because she's also an actress as well. And, she's on many films. She's constantly working,
Mhm.
and she has been for many years. So I think that was the only thing that might have been the issue. But yeah, no, I literally caught her in between things, and we scheduled it for that. And but yeah, but there are people that I don't know. I don't know at all. I don't even know how to contact. I don't even know the slightest way. I was Googling. I was trying to look up who their agents were. And then other ways that I was thinking is like, I mean, Georgina does know everybody. I could reach out to her and see if she would be able to like connect us. um, but again, like to me, that would take more work. So it's like, okay, it's the dream list. Maybe one day I'll put more work into that and I will I will do that because I don't know them very well. I would want to build up a little bit of a relationship with them. And I mean, apart from a few people, majority of the people that I interviewed this season, I knew in one way or another. I've either met before, some more than others. But there was only, I think, to be honest, there's only one person that I had never met before. And they were great because they were someone who was referred to me by somebody who was like, "Hey, you need to contact this person." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Well, you
We
never know,
did,
right?
and it was
If you
great.
don't, if you
Exactly.
don't know them, you never know what, how they can respond to you. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. But the other people I did know. I did know, even if I just met them once or whatever, just in a place where like we're friends on social media in some way that I could reach out to them and I knew like, they would probably respond to me or say hi or whatever. So yeah, no, it was a very great learning experience. I I do want to continue. I'm just trying to figure out how do I move forward and how do I make it so that, people can maybe even help support the podcast in some way.
Like, share,
My
and
mom,
subscribe.
yeah, my mom actually bought our whole family some of my merch. So everyone got a sweater or a t-shirt of my thing that's on my merch site. And yeah. Oh my
That's
God.
awesome.
When I tell you that bill, oh my God. Like I originally just said me and my brothers, and then my mom literally was like, called all my nieces and nephews. My aunt wanted one. She got one for my dad. Like it was like 13 sweaters. Like I kid you not. Like so you can imagine how much that was. Plus with shipping, I was like, okay. She's like, yep, no, I'm buying everyone a sweater. I'm buying everyone a shirt. We had to call everyone, ask what their sizes, what they wanted, what color, all that stuff. So yeah, my mom's really great. But, like the 2025 recap told me, my mom has been my biggest supporter. Uh, you know, yeah, my mom has always been really great and has always supported me in whatever I do. And yeah, has helped me so much in multiple ways. But if we could find a way to support the podcast in some way, listening to it, sharing it also helps a lot. Like I said, I do get analytics uh that show me who's listening, where people are listening, what platform you're listening on. I did say once I got to 100 subscribers. Wow. 1,000 subscribers would be great too, but 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel, at youtube.com/at nativeoriginstories.com, which we're also live on right now. That I would start releasing video versions. Me and Roger have talked about that, about releasing those as well. So if people want to watch it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
They'll be coming.
liking.
Yeah, they'll be coming.
Yeah, they'll be coming. Not, I mean, the videos are related to, but yeah, just listening, sharing, liking, all those things, following the channels, like that helps support me as well. Um, and yeah, just how do I, once you kind of build up platforms like that, then it becomes a thing of like, oh, if you can get people to listen, Acast is like that as well too. I think I can add commercials in between. um, but you have to, before you can enroll in that program, you actually have to have so many monthly views, and I'm not there yet. So
Mhm.
again, it's a matter of getting people to listen and share and introduce the podcast. I've been wearing my sweater at the 2 Christmas parties I went to, and I already got new people listening to the podcast, based on that, because they were like, "Oh, I like your sweater. Tell me about it." And I'm like, then I would tell them about my podcast, and they were like, "Oh, where do I find it?" And then I would tell them where to find it, and then they were like, "We're gonna listen." And next thing you know, I see them following me on social media on the accounts for Native Origin Stories. So yeah.
Let me ask you really quick, because
Mhm.
where, when you look at the stats and everything, I don't say demographics, the locations, what surprised you, and where people are listening from?
Oh, you know what's funny? uh it's funny because if I look at the correlation between the episodes that did really well, we always talked about Japan in some way.
Hmm.
So Japan was actually on there. There was one for Japan, it was on there for a little bit. But the second one, so Canada's number one, US is number two, and then France. France was another one. And I was like, oh, okay.
Bonjour,
I'm like,
Francais
I'm like,
listeners.
I'm like, who's listening in France? Apparently people are listening in France. Yeah, so yeah, I think those are the shocking ones. Yeah. In the beginning, I think it was like because we talked a few people talked about Japan a couple times, and so Japan was in there for a while. Japan actually was three for a while, and then yeah, more recently I think France has overtaken Japan. but
France and Japan planning out your
but
tour. France and
I
Japan
know, right?
tour.
But 90% together was probably Canada and US, and Canada was slightly more than the US.
Hmm. That's
Yeah,
good.
so it was
Right on.
interesting.
Right on. Is there any I was gonna make a mention about my merch. Was just used t-shirts that I had laying around that I'm gonna give away as merch. That's it. There's your
You were
merch. There's your merch. I'll
Hey,
make sure I wash it.
you're not gonna give away your old hockey stick that broke?
No, I didn't. Do I even still have that? Maybe I still have it kicking around. Yeah.
Sign it.
Now my hockey. That's my old life. So Dwayne's still here. Sorry, Dwayne. Dwayne, you want my hockey stick?
You know what you should
Yeah.
do? You should put it back together with like duct tape and then sign
Yeah,
it.
I'll
Like,
sign.
oh,
Yeah. He was Dwayne was actually asking me to come back and play this season. I was like,
uh,
"Oh, dude, I'm kind of
auction it
retired,
off.
man. I'm
Auction it off.
retired,
You can
man. Like, yeah. But I might go check. I might go watch your game this weekend. So we'll see. Never
well,
know. I'll say that now, and then maybe I'll jump in their game. Who knows?
auction it off and say, "Hey, I'm fundraising to make my new film."
Yeah.
The
I need $10,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
the shots you don't
Mm,
make,
the
auction it
shot.
off. Be like, gonna be
That's-
famous one time. It's my last winning hockey stick that I won
yeah,
the championship with,
it's
or
my
whatever.
last attempt at filmmaking before I decide to just say forget it.
Mm.
No,
Mhm.
I was talking about goals really quick, and I wanted to share
Mm.
mine just because I wanted to put it out
Yeah.
there. So one
Okay.
thing was doing more YouTube stuff. I mean, I think I was telling you before. I 10 years
Mhm.
ago I was gonna do YouTube. I did like a vlog, and I was like, I can't do YouTube. I can't do vlog. I'm just not.
Mhm.
I'd rather make movies. Like movies was the thing I wanted to do. But
Yeah.
part of my growth as a filmmaker and a storyteller is like, oh, TV is something like I thought until I got there. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. So I want to do more TV episodes directing.
Mhm.
I want to obviously I have my action film script that you sat in on the read for.
Yeah.
And I think that's different. I mean, that's not Green Hill. That's way different than Green Hill.
No,
I
I
got
tell you, I told my mom about it too. She's waiting for it.
yeah. So there you go.
I
So
know my
like,
mom would love that movie.
yeah. So there you go. It's like really different different stories, right?
Yeah.
I do got a horror film. I got 2 horror film ideas, not ideas. I've written them out. I haven't scripted
Mhm.
them, but I've written them out. So I'm gonna those are things I want to finish those scripts and I want to just
Yeah.
have those ready. Obviously I want to see what I can do with turning my my
Mhm.
hockey feature into a TV series. And YouTube was I was going back to YouTube, so I have all my unreleased podcast episodes and helping you with the podcast and doing native origin stories kind of reinvigorated me to go like, oh yeah, I got like 6 unreleased episodes of people I've
Yeah.
interviewed. And I got to release those. So, but I do want to kind of focus on that. The idea I got is I want to focus on, first of all,
Mhm.
just interviewing filmmakers,
Mhm.
storytellers, but also I want to focus on Canadian writers, directors, producers, showrunners
Mhm.
type of people, right? I want to focus on that because I want to kind of see, I want to meet other people, but I want to also give a platform to people to tell their story, kind of like what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
I'm totally copying you. But it's just I want to kind of focus on a YouTube. I call it a show. I don't want to call it a show, but a YouTube video like that, like a video podcast,
Mhm.
a video cast every Friday or every second Friday, and then I want to focus on really attempting to make movie reviews. Like there's movies I want to talk
Mhm.
about, Canadian films, especially Canadian, even Indigenous films, but just Canadian films in general.
Yeah.
And I want to. I would like to start putting together like there's movies I watch that I don't see a lot of reviews on, but I just want to talk about them and give a. I was trying to think, what can I
Mhm.
do a rating system, and maybe I'll do Bannock, 4 out of 5 Bannocks, like that type of thing. So we'll see,
Yep.
we'll see how it goes. But I just want to do just. I'm not trying to have a. I'm not trying to make a, what do you call it? Let me, quote unquote, YouTube career. Like I'm not. I want to just have. I want to make it fun. I'm not trying to make it. If it leads
Mhm.
to something after that, great. Don't get me wrong, it'd be great. And I think that's one of the goals. So in the next 6 months, really establish at least 5 reviews, video reviews. But I put myself out there like this, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm Roger. Thank you for joining me." I can't put that act on. I'm not an actor, but just put
But
it like getting like you, like
yeah.
getting comfortable with myself being on camera, right?
Mhm.
Um, I don't feel I don't feel great at it, but I don't feel I'm bad at it. It was kind of funny. I ran into an
Yeah.
old coworker of mine from years ago when I was going to go become a cop, go into corrections.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give myself out there. But anyways, I didn't pursue these careers, but I was on my way pursuing those careers. I
Yeah.
was well on my way until I decided to pursue film. And he was telling me, he goes, "Hey, I heard your, what do you say, podcast or video? He saw me somewhere because we're Facebook friends, and he was like,
Yeah.
I saw you post something." He said, "Hey, you're pretty good at it." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Okay, cool." But it was just like, oh, sometimes we don't think we're good on camera or we're good at
Yeah.
talking on our podcast until someone says, "Yeah, you're pretty good," because we're comparing ourselves. Sometimes we compare ourselves. Maybe I'm wrong, but I,
Mhm.
I don't want to generalize. But sometimes we compare ourselves to those professionals who have done it for 20 years, and we're like, "Oh, I don't sound
Yeah.
like that guy. I don't sound like that guy, or that girl or whoever." But
Mhm.
yeah, but I mean, these are things. Those are kind of my goals for this year. But it's really the next big one is getting my action film movie script off the ground, and I think that's a big project that I want
Mhm.
to go into. That I'm just waiting. Yeah, it's all a waiting game. You gotta wait to hear back from everyone. But YouTube thing, I think, to keep myself occupied, and if I can make it something, if I can make it its own thing, then great. I'll look forward to that. But I I'm not trying to. I wouldn't. I'm not okay. How do I say? I'm not trying to do YouTube to make money. I'm trying to do YouTube to improve
Mhm.
on my craft and to improve on my storytelling and to build a platform that I can invite people on to talk about, to just have
Mhm.
conversations like this. Look, we've been talking for 2.5 hours. Remember, I tell you, like, keep your interviews under 45 minutes, and you talk for an hour. I'd be like, oh,
I know.
that was the one thing I was trying to tell
And
you.
sometimes I went over the hour, and because usually it was usually the times you weren't there, because I think you were in LA at the time, and I was just like, and I remember telling the guest at the time, I'm like, "Oh, Roger's gonna kill me. We've been talking for like an hour and 30 minutes," and he's like, "Make sure when you're at like the 50-minute mark that you start winding down and ask your final question." And I'm like, "Oh." But we were
Yeah,
such in our conversation that I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. It's fine."
it worked out.
But
It worked out.
yeah.
But that was the thing, right? It was like having, like, even like that when you're doing a podcast is like a 30 minutes is
Mhm.
kind of sweet spot. But if you go over that, I think
Yeah.
even for what I'm learning, what I see on YouTube is like longer form content is a lot more encouraged. So um yeah, there you go. You have the discussion. So it's something I want to do,
Mhm.
kind of get more into. And I've podcast before, but I just kind of got out of it, and not for any bad reason. I just was like, I've done it
Yeah.
enough. And I always think about that. I was like, oh, we were ahead of the curve. We could have kept going, and we would have been so much for. But I was like, I wasn't trying to
Mhm.
be a podcaster. It was just something for fun to do. And what came of that was, obviously, here we are. I'm helping you. I helped you. Like,
Mhm.
don't get. I'm not trying to take credit for everything, but it was all you, really. I mean, I think it just feels good when you can have someone to kind of
Yeah.
spot
I mean,
knock ideas off or bounce ideas off of.
well, I can only say, like, thank you for all your help and support, because you did help me a lot in, I think sometimes I just needed that push to be like, "Okay," because I feel like I just kept getting stuck with, like, it's like you didn't know how to take the first step, and then you were like, "Okay, you know what? Give me 20 names and we're gonna meet next week." And that's how it started, and then it was like from there, it just snowballed, and it was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, everything seems to be going good. We had this plan. This is what we're gonna do, whatever." And first thing you just said was like, "Let's just do 20 names." 'Cause, like, I
Mhm.
did say, like, I did share, I'm like, I think at this point, because
the later I'm getting, because I knew I was getting behind, I was like, the later I was getting and pushing everything back, I just started becoming more and more overwhelmed. And you were like, we're just going to come up with 20 names. That's all we're going to do today. 20 names. And then let's meet back next week. And so I did. And then from there, it just like, as soon as we just did that first step, it was just like, okay, it was easier to move forward after that.
Yeah. No, and I'm happy that helped
Mhm.
you. So, and that, for the listeners who want to do a podcast, that's all it is. Sometimes you just write down
Mhm.
who do you want to interview. Could be your friends. Just have a
Yeah.
conversation. What do you want to talk about? Write that down. Topics. Write down 20 topics, 10 topics.
Mhm.
You know, it's there's someone. There's a YouTuber I watched, and there she was saying, it
Mhm.
was kind of funny. It was like one of those drama channels. I was like, what's this? What's people talking about? So I was on YouTube watching some drama, but she was talking about YouTubering,
Mhm.
and she's like, just push record and put it out there. She goes, that's how a lot of people don't even do that. And I was like, yeah, that's actually, we hear that. I
Yeah.
hear that so many times, but sometimes you forget it, right? And that's
Yeah.
what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to like, I was very willing to be like, I can be your first guest if you need, just to be comfortable. But I feel I'd
Mhm.
rather you not interview me just because it's important for you to kind of take that step to like, who is my first guest, and
Yeah.
you asked the right people. So, and
Yeah.
they all came on. Are there any final reflections for you before we take
Mm,
any questions from the crowd? First of all, type them in. And is there any last reflections from you?
uh, last reflection for me again, like I do want to do other things. Like I said, I too also want to do I do want to talk about film. I did want to do one on horror as well. Um, yeah, there's actually this program. Oh, hey Jay. um,
What's up,
I
James?
I
Good to see you.
I do want to do film related because I feel like I want to talk about Indigenous film, not Canadian film in general. I want to talk about
Mhm,
Indigenous film and talk more about it. I think it's just because I watch so much
mhm,
Indigenous film, but I
mhm.
also want to talk about like how to like critique it in a way that's like, you know what I mean, where you're just like where
Yeah,
you're giving things and making it really short, like just literally reviewing films
yeah.
and talking more about it and just bringing people more awareness to Indigenous films and things that are happening because I feel like there's so much Indigenous film that's actually being created. We just don't know about it because it's not like the ones that are being highlighted right now. Like even the TV shows, like there's so many great TV shows that are happening right now that
Mhm.
people maybe haven't seen. Like
Yeah,
Acting Good. Like I
yeah.
don't unless you know of the show or have heard
Mhm,
about it, like what they're past one season, right? This is the second
mhm.
season,
Yeah.
right?
So James is doing the best
Mm.
impression of me. Thanks, James.
Oh, right. The only Indigenous horror movie I've watched is Blood Quantum. Any other recommendations? Um, a horror movie?
I heard good things about
Uh,
Seeds.
yeah, Seeds is good.
I heard some. I haven't seen it. I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
I don't think Seeds is a horror. I think it's more thriller, more of a thriller, I would say. But yeah,
Yeah,
Seeds is really good. I've watched it a few times.
Dark Forest.
Um,
I heard the Dark Forest is a slasher film.
oh, there's another one called Flashback. It's set in
Oh yeah,
the
that's
Northwest
I haven't
Territories.
seen that one. Slashback. There was another one, so I
Yeah,
looked that up.
Slashback is a good one.
I meant to get a. I was asking her for a signed copy of her DVD.
Yeah. Flashback is a really good one. It's about this group of kids in Northwest Territories.
You know what?
I
I'm gonna put
think
that
it's
on my.
Northwest Territories. Yeah,
I gotta put
Slashback
that on
is
my
really
list.
good. I
Dark
think
Forest.
is it on Amazon? Is it Amazon or Netflix? I can't remember.
I think it's
One
on
of them.
Crave. It might be on Crave.
And there are some older ones too. There is one. It's like
Can we put the
I think it's called
trailer?
Bear Walkers. To be honest, I think it's something like that. That was an Indigenous horror film made by Indigenous people. Set
Mhm.
in like northern Ontario.
Yeah.
There's that one. That's an older time one. Yeah, no, there's so many films. I work for I program a film festival every year, Indigenous film festival every year. So I watch like over 200 films of Indigenous films every year. So yeah, like there's so many great films that I don't think people see because not all of them are going to get on distribution. Not all of them are going to be seen on, the streaming platforms, or people have released them,
Yeah.
independently, and they're like sitting on their YouTube channels or whatever, and or their websites, and no one even knows, you know, unless you know that they've been there or they've been seen in film festivals. And, again, like making a film is one thing, distribution is another.
Yeah.
So, um,
I
so
got
yeah, so
two.
no,
Cold
mhm.
Viper. I got two horror films written ideas. Kind of I'm working on right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But yeah, I think my other reflection is, yeah, one of the people that we were talking about is Harley Knife, who also goes by the Tiny Robot, who also streams online on Twitch. And they were like asking us a whole bunch about film, and they were like, well, where is there a place for everyone to go so they could like ask questions, or we could like, like all your guests could go. And I'm like, well, not all my guests are going to join Discord. Not all my guests are going to want to. So I ended up sending them to your Discord because I was like, well, you can join my Discord. You feel free to ask me any questions. Plus, like, you know,
To mine?
we're yeah. Remember I sent Tiny Robot to your
Yeah,
Discord?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, and
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
also invited Ryan Black to your Discord.
No, Ryan's in there. Oh, Ryan's in there.
Yeah.
Is Ryan?
No,
Is
he was
Ryan? Are you watching?
Ryan wasn't in there. It was after our reading that I was like, oh, well, you can go into his Discord. And he was like, you have Discord? And I was like, yeah, he has a whole Discord. So I invited Ryan to your Discord.
Yeah.
So I'm just been fighting, inviting anybody to Roger's Discord. I
I think.
know. It's the other
Oh.
thing too. He's never in there, and there's nothing ever in there. It's usually us who are who's in there.
I don't use
Um,
my. I use my Discord. I just don't post anything in my Discord.
yeah. But I was like, if there was a place for people who are interested in film to have a conversation, I was like, just do it in just volunteer in your Discord. I'm like,
I know. Well, if you guys want to do it on my Discord, I should do. That's where I should host more of my podcast stuff. Hey, I streamed
yeah.
one of my games the other day in my Discord. No one watched, but I was like, okay, that's fine. I was testing
Well,
it out.
we never think you're in there. So unless you like tag us and say, hey, I'm about to go live and stream this game in my Discord, I'm in here. I'm in 100 Discords. Your Discord's like somewhere near the bottom because you're
all,
never in there.
all my Discord members are in chat right now, except for two of them. There you go. That's how much I use
Yeah.
my Discord.
You have to notify us if you're going to do something like that.
Yeah,
We're just not going to assume you're in
see,
there.
that's the one thing, right? Is getting more used to like even streaming.
Mhm.
Like I was talking about Twitch, and it's like I don't stream on. I use the odd time I'll stream, but then you kept telling me like, oh, you can be what is it? You can become a
You need to be an affiliate. You have
yeah. I'm like for
yeah.
me, I'm like okay, sure, whatever.
Well,
Like,
and I also told you that you could have like you could have like we also could have streamed to your Twitch channel at the same time. I mean,
yeah,
we could have added multiple ones on there, so
and
it
I
could have
didn't
been
even
fun.
yeah. Yeah, I left. I was like,
Right?
forget this. I'm out of here. Game out of my
Um
game. There are a lot of.
yeah,
I was gonna say there's a lot of films that indigenous films, but they're not indigenous directors. There's very few of them. So Blood Quantum was one of
yeah,
them. I think a thriller type film is Seeds.
yeah.
And there are probably a couple other ones. I would have to go back in our list. I'm sure we
Well,
have.
and I think
They
because
just don't have.
we
They don't have distribution.
we've had to do this for our film festival, but we had to define what we mean by indigenous led films because that's
Yeah.
what we had to. And it came about of saying like, okay, you have to meet this criteria. One of them was an indigenous person has to hold a key creative position in the film in some
Yeah.
way. And key creative, you didn't know, is someone who has like basically artistic control in some way. Because as a producer, like you have a little bit of control of what's happening, right? Because you
Yeah.
are part of those conversations. You can influence and be like, hey, by the way, we're going to do this or we're not going to do this or whatever. Directors can do that as well. Uh, Lead actors, not so much. I
I'm
guess
not in
you'd have to be a really big name to be able to influence the director or producer to do what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm
But
not an
normally you have to
affiliate,
be
Jesse.
creative.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not an affiliate, Jesse. But there are a lot of films out there. If you guys want to talk about horror specifically, that have a
yeah,
lot of indigenous actors. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure you just said this, Aretha, but what I was trying to say was
Yeah.
there are probably horror films that aren't out there. Like, okay, so I Don't Say Its Name is another film by I think he's been in your festival. Ruben's directed Don't Say Its Name.
Ruben.
That's a horror film. Oh, Ruben Martel. Not just calling him out here for his
Oh
film, but
wow. Well,
he's made a film called Don't Say
I
Its
don't
Name.
even know why I asked you because I'm horrible with people's names. I probably don't know.
Yeah, and if you look it up, like
Yeah.
indigenous horror films, you'll see a lot of films with indigenous
Yeah.
actors, but a lot of them are not
Yeah.
like straightforward. Like Edge of the Knife was kind of horror esque,
Hmm.
and that was directed by what's her name? Helen Haig Brown. She was a
Hmm.
filmmaker from she's directed
Yeah.
and it was a different type of horror film. But yeah,
Yeah.
like uh things like this. Anyway,
Yeah.
we should definitely make a list of that. And one of my
We definitely
favorites,
should.
one of
Yeah.
my favorite horror films. It's not directed by an indigenous filmmaker,
Hmm.
and it's kind of a fake language that's spoken in there. It's called Prophecy with the bear. And I always feel like I had fun with that. I remember watching that when I was a kid.
Hmm.
I shouldn't be watching it when I was a kid, but it was on
Yeah.
cable. But it was like one of my favorite films. Like
Yeah.
I bought the Blu-ray, but I always think like, oh, someone should remake this like legitimately like as a native
Well,
filmmaker. And so
and
I
this
say
is where,
someone, and hello
yeah.
producers. Oh, there's someone.
Well, well, and this is where I think putting it on the list is fine.
Mhm.
Just again, adding that additional information onto it to say, hey, this is an indigenous topic with indigenous whatever, made by non-indigenous people. Because I feel like leaving them off the list is not going to help. I
Yep.
think just labeling it and making sure that people know that it's made by non-indigenous people is fine, because then it's really up to you if you want to watch it or not. But
Mhm.
also, again, it's like the same thing. It's like, okay, maybe at that time they were in a position where this is the person who was telling the story and it just is what it is.
Mhm.
But maybe, hey, this is a great idea. And if you, as an indigenous person or indigenous filmmaker, was going to remake a film, again, there's a whole process to getting rights to things, but you know what I mean? Like you could remake it and maybe be made by indigenous people. Because who knows? Maybe you'd make different choices, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. So as we're chatting, I'm searching
Mhm.
this, and there's a Reddit thread that says searching for indigenous Native American horror, and it's like, oh, Don't Say Its Name is one of them. Oh, Slashback. I'm
Mhm.
just like stuff we're talking about. Edge of the
Yep.
Knife. I'm like, okay, people are talking about, but then they're talking about like Apocalypto and um some other ones like Prey. Would Prey be a horror film?
Yeah.
Action
Pray,
horror film?
pray, pray, pray would be. I don't think Apocalypto would be though. I was
Yeah.
talking about it the other day. It is a good film, but it
I
was made
mean,
by Mel Gibson.
yeah, Blood Quantum is
And
another. Well, obviously that's up
and well, Mel Gibson wrote it with another
there.
person, and then Mel Gibson directed it.
Yeah.
Uh, but n- out of the two people that wrote it, which is Mel Gibson and the other person, I can't remember their name at the time, but uh, they're both not indigenous. But they
Hmm.
wrote this film called Apocalypto, kind of set in like Aztec, kind of like
Hmm.
Mayan kind of time.
Yeah.
Um, it is a good film. It is a good movie. It actually hired and it actually cast a lot of indigenous people from the area who had never. A lot of the people at speaking roles had never acted before. Like it was just one of those things that they were like, oh, and they were really good in that film. Like
Hmm.
and I don't know if they've done anything since, but like they were really good. So
Yeah.
like to me, I'm like that film is still good. But deciding not to watch it because of that is one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Deciding to watch it knowing that and just, it just means like having the expectation that it's fine to say it is what it is and it's good for what it is.
Hmm.
Um, but like it doesn't mean the film's not good.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like I feel like going forward from here on out, I think like these
Mhm.
days we're gonna see more films like that and more horror films, I think, and
Mhm.
which is good because horror's always been
Hmm.
a thing that's I don't want to be like, oh, horror is always sold, but
Yeah.
it's been one of those things. What was I gonna say? You definitely make a list. James says,
Hmm.
put the list on my Discord. I'm like, I'll put a list on my Discord, all right.
Right?
all 60 of you are here right now. What do we have to make a list for? My Discord members are here. No,
You're
okay,
too
but
funny.
I don't use my, like, you have a really good Discord. There's a couple Discords I'm part of that are really active, and I'm like,
I mean,
I don't need I gotta figure
mine's
it
a
out
little
more.
active from the community that we had that I created it with. Like we're pretty active. Like after this, actually, we're gonna be watching the Alien Earth because we haven't
Mhm.
watched it yet. So that's something we have planned for later on tonight. So if anyone wants to watch that with us, you're more than welcome to join us. Um, but yeah, we do watch parties and stuff like that. Sometimes we play games there. We used to hang out in there more, but yeah, and but like a lot of discords, it really depends because some of us were really active for a little bit and then we were focusing on other things, so then it wasn't active, so then you know people
Yeah.
weren't as active anymore in there, so it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I
Mhm.
haven't watched it yet at all. That's why I was like, okay, we have to really watch this.
I mean, in terms of our personal filmmaking too, I think
Hmm.
I do got my 2 horror film ideas that I wrote out. Um,
Hmm.
and then I have my 2 action films. And then yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, right? We have all these plans. We're gonna once a month we're gonna make all these movies, right? It's gonna be tough. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, and then I was telling Roger the other day, I had this dream the other day about this sci-fi thing, and I just kind of went into this whole thing, and I'm like, oh, I wrote it down. I have this idea, so I'm going to work on that one too. But I really need to just focus on writing this TV show, what I've been trying to do for years. Um, because yeah, I turned down an opportunity to work with a producer who wanted to pitch it to like I think NBC or something like that, and 'cause yeah, it was another thing like that where it was like, again, it's like the thing with Netflix. Uh, uh, they wanted to option the rights and
Mhm.
they sent me the contract and I was like, "Oh, you wanna cut me out of the whole thing?" Because it was like, "If the networks allow, I'll be able to, like, participate." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I wanna do that because I really love the idea and I kinda felt like I was selling my baby and I was like, "You know what? I feel like I wasn't okay with letting it go. I
Yeah.
wasn't okay with letting it go. If it never happens, it never happens, but at least I wanna be the first person to write the first script, you know?"
Yeah. Um I think
Mhm,
that's see going like even for you, Cold
mhm,
Viper. I think you have some ideas that you need to really write out there, and
mhm,
we need in order for us to see more films like that, we definitely need to kind of get behind each other and encourage each other
mhm,
to finish these projects. So so from here on out, that's what we're gonna do. So
mhm.
in the chat, every time Aretha's live, remember to ask her, have you wrote today? Like that's what
Right?
you're gonna ask her.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's what she'll be
I
like,
know,
leave me alone. That's what she's gonna be saying. So, leave me alone.
I
I don't
know.
know
We're gonna
what
have
we're gonna
to
be.
well, and we need to have, like, writing sessions too, right? So, it'd be really
Mhm.
cool. But yeah. But,
Yeah,
yeah, we've been live for almost 3
yeah,
hours. This
3
is
hours. There you
really
go. Did you want? I guess we can.
yeah,
Let's say end it, but we could end. I don't want to say we could end
yes.
this, but we could probably end this. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can end it, and, yeah, I'm gonna raid over to someone, I just gotta figure out where to put it. Also, I drink so much water, the reason why I'm dancing in my chair so much is because I really
Mm.
I drank so much water. Have fun editing this, right?
We're putting it out just like that,
Yeah, just
right?
putting it on like this, it's
Like,
like,
how do you
yeah,
bring it?
if
It is what it is,
anyone wants to
man.
watch, they can watch. Yeah. Alright,
Um,
well, any last words? Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Roger, for joining me, and of course, thank you for doing all the editing. Oh my god, I'm literally dancing my seat. Okay. Any last words before we go?
the last words are stay safe, set your goals, be be healthy, take accountability for your choices, and do something good each month for yourself and other people. And
Sounds good.
really appreciate yeah, we really
Mhm.
appreciate you all for being here.
Yes.
And thank you for all the support, everyone. So, and thank you for
Yes.
everyone who joined in on the chat. And if you want to follow me, Coach B Films on Instagram, and I'm on Twitch,
Mhm.
and I'm still trying to get to my 80 followers on Twitch for like 3 years. Maybe
You only need 50.
I always say that as long as I always say like I'm gonna stream. Maybe I'll do like 1 month of straight. I'll stream every day, But if it's
Mhm.
Dead by Daylight, right, or Fortnite, I don't know. But maybe what I'll
Yeah.
think about in the next week is including that into my YouTube
Yep.
approach, what I'm trying to do. So, yeah. So once I think things will get busy for me in March, but so from here until March, I'll have a couple months to focus
Sounds
on
good.
finishing my scripts. The bologna sandwich and Pepsi, yeah. Hey, please stay away from my bologna sandwiches, man. But you can have the Pepsis.
Right? All right. Hi, Abhinav. Hi. Okay, so we're gonna go raid a new Indigenous Alliance member. That's who we're gonna go say hi to on Twitch, and then YouTube will just end here. But
Right
thank
on.
you all for being
Later,
here.
YouTube.
Later, YouTube. Thank you so much. And if you are, hold on, if you are on Twitch, here are the raid messages. The first one is if you're a subscriber. Second one is if you're a follower. And yeah, let's go over and say hi. You all have a wonderful night, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.